Chapter 40. At the back of the mountain, in a low house, the girl in white slowly took off her clothes and walked to the side of the steaming bathtub. She carefully poured the medicinal liquid from the porcelain bottle into the bathtub and waited until the bathtub turned milky white before she slowly stepped into the bathtub. The moment she stepped into the bathtub, she felt a wave of spiritual energy rushing towards her. It made her feel refreshed, and even her mood improved. "Little Emo, I'm going to start cultivating now. Keep an eye on the surroundings for me, and tell me immediately if anyone comes." "Yes, master." Little Emo agreed happily. Although it could only stay in the divine grimoire world, no living person's aura could escape its notice. "Master, I've sensed 3 auras in the back of the mountain. One belongs to your second uncle, one belongs to Yun Xiao, and the last one is unknown. However, that person is with Yun Xiao and has no ill intentions." "Yun Xiao?" Yun Luofeng was startled. "Since he has no ill intentions, just ignore him." The mountain was overgrown with weeds. Yun Xiao looked at the man in gray who was kneeling in front of him and said in a cold and unfeeling tone, "I've already said that no one is allowed to enter the residence of Yun without my orders. Have you forgotten?" As he spoke, an oppressive aura emanated from Yun Xiao's body. If Yun Luofeng had been here, he would have realized that none of the spiritual beasts reared on the mountain behind the Yun Manor dared to move as they crouched on the ground in fear. Lin Xiong wanted to cry, but no tears came out. He had only come to report something, but who knew that he would be subjected to such a powerful force from this terrifying man? That's right. How terrifying! In the eyes of his subordinates, the man in front of them was a terrifying demon. Anyone who offended him would suffer a fate worse than death. "Master, it's like this." Lin Xiong swallowed and replied in a trembling voice. "Recently, a talented woman has appeared on the mainland. She admires you and has spread the news that she's the only one in the world who's worthy of you. She even said that she can conquer you. I'm here to ask you if we should deal with this matter. Kill her." These 2 words were simple and easy to understand, but it also showed how cruel this man was. Lin Xiong was stunned. Even though she knew that her master was cruel and merciless, she did not expect that he would ask them to kill her. As if he was very dissatisfied with Lin Xiong's words, the man's cold eyes glanced at her. Lin Xiong shuddered and hurriedly lowered her head. "Yes, Your Majesty." Yun Xiao seemed to have thought of something as she involuntarily glanced at the bungalow not far behind her. "Also, send someone to investigate the grudge between Prime Minister Mu's mansion and the Yun family. Tell me everything." "Yes." Lin Xiong cupped her fists and replied. He really couldn't understand why a person as high and mighty as his master would come to a small country like Long Yuan country to be the bodyguard of the daughter of a general. Even if the emperor saw his master, he would have to kowtow to his master a few times. Of course, even if Lin Xiong was 100 times more courageous, he would not dare to ask this question. Otherwise, he would not be able to live. Yun Luofeng, who was cultivating in her room, naturally did not know what was happening outside. She also did not know that ever since she had left a few answers in the medical pavilion, she had caused a sensation in the medical pavilion. Fools, a bunch of fools. In the back hall of the medical pavilion, Elder Rong's face was filled with anger. The people standing in front of him were so frightened that they did not even dare to breathe loudly. Chapter 41. I asked you to find someone, but you still haven't found her after so many days. What use do I have for you? Elder Rong slammed his fist on the table. In an instant, the table broke into pieces, sending shivers down everyone's spines. They could all imagine the power that would be produced when that fist landed on their bodies. "Elder Rong, I have an idea." A man in a gray robe stepped out from the crowd and joined his fists. He then said respectfully that Divine Doctor had left an answer under the Dachiro poisons question last time. This proves that she's very interested in the complicated illness. Why don't we use that age-old question and stick it on the wall? If she appears and solves the question, we'll be able to find her. Elder Rong's anger had mostly dissipated, but his expression was still ugly. Then let's do as he says. Later, I'll give you a difficult problem. Stick it on the wall and use it to lure her out. 4 days later, In a bungalow at the back of the Yun family's mountain, Yun Luofeng opened her eyes. She could feel the power surging through her body, and her lips curled into a devilish smile. Beginner spirit stage. In 4 days, she had advanced from a beginner spirit stage to an intermediate spirit stage. If word of this got out, it would definitely shock the entire Long Yuan country. There's only one set of spirit gathering potion left. Looks like I'll need to refine it. Forget it, I'll go to the medical pavilion and see how much I can sell it for. Being a doctor is a money-burning profession. The 45 million silver that Mu Shin owes me is not enough. Yun Luofeng muttered to herself. Just as she was about to stand up from the bathtub, she suddenly realized that a small figure was sticking out its little butt and licking the bath water that she had splashed on the floor, not even sparing the water in the corner. Little Mo, why didn't you tell me that something came in? Yun Luofeng stared at the gluttonous little fellow and raised her eyebrows. Not long after, little Mo's guilty voice could be heard in her mind. Master, this is just a gluttonous gold-seeking rat. It was attracted by the spirit-gathering potion. It's not harmful to you, so I didn't warn you. He would never tell his master that the hamster's aura was too weak, which was why he couldn't sense it. Gold-seeking rats like to eat spirit-gathering potion. Yun Luofeng stared at the snow-white gold-seeking rat, her eyes darting around. The gold-seeking rat doesn't eat spirit-gathering elixir. It likes to eat medicinal herbs. Furthermore, it relied on medicinal herbs to increase its strength. However, this gold-seeking rat had never eaten medicinal herbs before, so its strength was still very low until now. Master, you found a treasure this time. Little Mo's voice was filled with excitement. This gold-seeking mouse has a very pure bloodline. If you bring it with you, it can help you find extremely expensive herbs. Of course, you have to be careful. The gold-seeking rat is gluttonous. If it finds the medicinal herbs, it will eat them all. The gold-seeking rat's ability is to find valuable medicinal herbs. Of course not. The gold-seeking rat itself was also very strong. Its teeth could bite through the toughest sword in the world. Its claws could dig through the general's residence in 2 hours. Due to its small size and sharp teeth, it would not be at a disadvantage even if it were to fight against spiritual beasts such as wolves. The prerequisite is that this gold-seeking mouse can grow up. The more little Mo spoke, the more excited she became. However, if the gold-seeking rat were to grow up, the amount of medicinal herbs needed would be as high as a mountain. Because of this, not many people on the mainland can successfully cultivate a strong gold-seeking rat. Because of this, people generally think that the gold-seeking rat's advancement is slow and its strength is weak. Yun Luofeng was silent, but his pair of demonic eyes were filled with light when he looked at the gold-seeking rat. Chapter 42. Master, you have a cheat, you have a cheat. It's very difficult to cultivate the gold-seeking rat with ordinary herbs, but you have spiritual medicine. If you let the gold-seeking rat eat spiritual medicine as food, it will grow rapidly. On this mainland, the average noble child would tame 1 or 2 spiritual beasts as a companion. It wasn't that Yun Luofeng didn't have this idea in the past, but she didn't have the slightest bit of power. Even if the rest of the Yun family helped her tame the spiritual beasts would one day betray her. The gold-seeking rat, who was happily eating, finally felt a gaze fall on it. Thus, it stiffly turned its head bit by bit. In an instant, it met a pair of smiling eyes. Squeak! The gold-seeking rat squeaked and wanted to rush towards the door. Unfortunately, before it could rush out, it was caught by a hand. Squeak, squeak, squeak! In Yun Luofeng's hand, the gold-seeking rat struggled for a while, then bit Yun Luofeng's finger. However, under its attack, Yun Luofeng's skin didn't even break. His demonic eyes stared at it with a faint smile. The gold-seeking rat finally gave up all hope and gave up struggling. Its expression was full of dejection. It could already imagine its miserable appearance when it was made into a hamster meal. Little fellow, how about following me? Just as the gold-seeking rat was in despair and too lazy to move, Yun Luofeng slowly opened his mouth to ask. The gold-seeking rat's expression seemed to have been reignited. It blinked its eyes and stared blankly at the beautiful woman's demonic smile. What did she mean? Wouldn't it be made into a hamster meal? I know you can understand me. Follow me and you'll have medicine to eat every day. How about that? If it was any other person who heard you say that you would have medicine to eat every day by following me, they would definitely give you a good beating. But the gold-seeking rat was different. After hearing Yin Luofeng's words, its pair of black eyes lit up. It hurriedly nodded its head like pounding garlic and squeaked. Then I'll give you a name. Yin Luofeng played with the gold-seeking rat in his hand, an evil smile appearing in his eyes. Seeing that your color is similar to milk, I'll call you Milk Tea from now on. Squeak. The gold-seeking rat responded. As long as it had medicine to eat every day, it didn't care what name it was given. This spirit-gathering liquid is what's left after I used it. It's not very useful for you to increase your strength. In a bit, I'll go to the medical pavilion to buy some medicinal ingredients for you, but Yin Luofeng paused. In the future, when you follow me, you can't hold anything back. For example, if you pick up any medicinal ingredients outside, you could bring them back to show your filial piety to me. After saying this, Yin Luofeng hid the milk tea in his sleeves and walked out of the room. For days, she had been in seclusion for 4 whole days. In these 4 days, other than Yin Xiao, who came to deliver food, and second uncle, who needed her to treat his legs with acupuncture, she did not see anyone else. Miss, you finally appeared. The maidservant Qing, Yin, saw Yin Luofeng walking down the back of the mountain. She quickly walked over and hurriedly reported, Miss, that Mu Shun came again? Mu Shun? He has already collected the 45 million taels? Yin Luofeng gently stroked his chin and said, Qing Yin, I'm going to the medical pavilion now. Tell him to leave the silver behind. As for other matters, tell him to wait for me in the back courtyard tomorrow. It was already late. She did not have the time to bother with Mu Shun. Qing Yin was stunned for a moment. She then looked at Yin Luofeng, who was walking towards the back door, her large eyes filled with confusion. Ever since the miss had failed to commit suicide, it seemed that she had changed too much. In the past, she chased after His Highness the Crown Prince all day, but now she ran to the medical pavilion all day. Chapter 43. This time, Yin Luofeng did not head straight for the medical pavilion. When she was near the medical pavilion, she took advantage of the fact that no one was paying attention to her and quickly slipped into the alley. She then covered her face with a snow-white veil that she had prepared in advance, concealing half of her face. Unless a very familiar face appeared in front of her, most people would never be able to discover her true identity. Milk Tea, hide in my sleeves and don't come out. Yin Luofeng stuffed Milk Tea's little head back in her sleeves after she had done all this. Her lips curled into a demonic smile. I'm not powerful enough at the moment, so I can't let anyone know that I'm in possession of the spirit-gathering elixir. Otherwise, I'm afraid that before I can grow stronger, that dog of an emperor will casually accuse me of a crime and have my entire family executed. Xiao and Mo understood the logic behind Yin Luofeng's words, so he did not make a sound this time. After Yin Luofeng threw down these words, he headed towards the noisy medical pavilion. Oh, little sister, are you here to buy medicinal herb for the medical pavilion? Look at you. You're so afraid of being seen that you're not even showing your face. Just as Yin Luofeng was about to step into the medical pavilion, a charming laugh rang out. It was an extremely beautiful woman. Her beauty and Yin Luofeng's beauty were 2 different extremes. Yin Luofeng was so beautiful that he could topple cities. His demonic charm and languid demeanor carried an air of nobility that no one dared to approach. This woman, on the other hand, was bare-chested. Her every frown and smile was extremely flirtatious. It was as if one look from her could steal a person's soul. Forget about men. Even a woman would feel their entire body go numb and unable to move when they heard her bewitching voice. Of course, based on appearance alone, Yin Luofeng would definitely win. However, no one could match this woman's flirtatious charm. Shopkeeper Lin isn't here? Yin Luofeng looked at the flirtatious woman who was twisting her slender waist as she walked towards him with a smile that did not reach her eyes. Shopkeeper Lin was Lin Xiao, the person who had always received Yun Luofeng. This was because Lin Xiao was in charge of receiving guests in the medical pavilion. Hence, this woman did not suspect Yun Luofeng's words. The woman giggled seductively and spoke coquettishly. For the sake of the medical pavilion's better performance, I will be the one to receive guests during this period. Little sister, if you need anything, you can tell Big sister. Big sister will take good care of you. I heard that your medical pavilion accepts medicinal liquids. I would like to ask, how much is the medicinal liquid in my hand worth? Yun Luofeng took out the porcelain bottle in his hand and gently shook it. Little sister, can you tell me about the effects of this medicine? The woman took the porcelain bottle from Yun Luofeng's hand, her smile becoming even more charming. The spirit-gathering medicinal liquid can make a spiritualist cultivation twice the result with half the effort, but it's only useful for those below advanced spiritualists. Once one becomes an advanced spiritualist, it'll lose its effect. The smile on the lady's face froze, and even her breathing became heavier. Are you saying that this is a spirit-gathering liquid that can help spiritualists cultivate? That's right. It's indeed effective for spirit masters below the high spirit master level. The specific method to use it is to mix this spirit-gathering liquid with water. When spirit masters cultivate in the water, it can help them gather spirit qi. Yun Luofeng nodded, confirming the woman's question. Following the young lady's words, the charming expression on the woman's face disappeared completely and was replaced with a serious expression. Little sister, I can't make a decision for you about this spirit-gathering medicinal liquid. How about this? I'll ask Elder Rong, and when the time comes, Elder Rong will decide what kind of price to give you. Is that okay? Chapter 44. All right, Yun Luofeng nodded. I hope you can hurry. I still have some time. Hearing this, the lady did not delay any further and quickly ran towards the inner room. Her anxious expression was seen by those who did not know better, and they would have thought that something serious had happened to her. In the inner room, Elder Rong, who was talking to a middle-aged man, was interrupted by the sound of a door being pushed open. He frowned, and when he saw the charming lady walking towards him, his expression gradually eased up. What happened to make you so flustered? Fanya quickly walked in front of Elder Rong. Elder Rong, a young lady came to sell the medicinal liquid. As I could not make the decision, I came to ask Elder Rong for help. Medicinal liquid? You can make the decision on this matter. There's no need to ask for my opinion. Elder Rong shook his head and said impatiently. If it was not Fanya, he would have lost his temper long ago. It's like this, Elder Rong. My old man asked me to come here to train, but he did not give me a lot of funds. I'm afraid that the funds I have are not enough to buy this medicinal liquid, so I came to ask Elder Rong for help. What? Elder Rong stood up in shock. You said that the funds you have on hand are not enough to buy medicinal liquid? First, tell me, what is that medicinal liquid? I remember that you have a few million taels of silver with you, right? Although Fanya had come here to train, she was still the granddaughter of that old man. How could he not give her a few million taels of silver? Furthermore, she could also use a few million taels of silver from the medical pavilion. So why could she not buy a medicinal liquid? Elder Rong, that medicinal liquid is the spirit-gathering medicinal liquid. Fanya's voice was filled with excitement. It is said that it can allow martial masters below the high martial artist level to train with twice the results with half the effort. Think about it. In this Long Yuan country, most people are middle martial artists, especially the descendants of the royal family. Which one of them does not want to train faster? If we can buy this spirit-gathering medicinal liquid, will we have to worry about not selling it for a good price? Elder Rong was completely stunned. Luckily, he had lived for so many years, so he was not as impulsive as Fanya. So, he suppressed the excitement in his heart and extended his hand towards her. Give me the spirit-gathering medicinal liquid. I want to see if it really has such an effect. Only then did Fanya react. She hurriedly placed the porcelain bottle in front of Elder Rong. This is the spirit-gathering liquid. Elder Rong stretched out his trembling hand and held the porcelain bottle in front of him. He slowly opened the lid and put it to his nose to smell it. Immediately, A fragrant aroma wafted into his nostrils, shocking him and making him feel refreshed. This spirit-gathering elixir does have the effect of aiding cultivation. Elder Roan took a deep breath. Although his expression was calm, his heart was in turmoil. However, there's a flaw with this spirit-gathering elixir. I felt it just now. This spirit-gathering elixir's effects are too strong. Even if it has the effect of gathering spiritual energy, it can't be consumed. Otherwise, you'll die for sure. Fanya was slightly stunned. She suddenly realized that Elder Roan had misunderstood her, so she quickly explained, Elder Roan, this spirit-gathering liquid is not meant to be taken orally. It's meant to be used as a medicinal bath. When a martial artist takes a bath while cultivating, it can gather spiritual energy. So that's how it is. Elder Roan was suddenly enlightened. His heart was filled with excitement. Yeah, we must buy this spirit-gathering medicinal liquid. I'll give you the authority now. You can use 10 million taels of silver from the medical pavilion. At the same time, ask that lady if she has any more spirit-gathering medicinal liquid. We'll buy as much as she has. Chapter 45. Yes, Elder Roan. After saying this, Fanya retreated. In the main hall of the medical pavilion, Yin Luofeng, who had been waiting anxiously, saw Fanya walking over quickly. When she saw the excitement on the other party's face, she knew that the deal was a success. Little girl, Fanya took a deep breath and walked towards Yin Luofeng. Your spirit-gathering fluid has been verified by Elder Roan. The medical pavilion will buy it for 10 million silvers. 10 million silvers? Yin Luofeng was stunned. Spirit-gathering fluid that only cost 800 silvers could be sold for 10 million silvers? This money was too easy to earn. Fanya saw her expression and thought that she was not satisfied with the price. She said anxiously, Little girl, the price given by the medical pavilion is very fair. However, I have to admit that after we get the spirit-gathering fluid, we will sell it to others at double the price. However, the medical pavilion is in the business of reselling, and we earn the difference in price. Yin Luofeng returned to her senses and smiled devilishly. I thought that it was easy for me to earn money. I didn't expect the medical pavilion to be even more unscrupulous. Fanya blushed. Although this was the truth, she still felt a little embarrassed when someone said it out loud. However, Yin Luofeng did not make things difficult for her. After all, if she wanted to sell the spirit-gathering fluid, she could only do so through the medical pavilion. Otherwise, she would face the danger of her identity being exposed. Little girl, if you have any more spirit-gathering fluid in the future, you can continue to sell it at my medical pavilion. I will give you a fairer price. Fanya winked at Yin Luofeng. I wonder if little girl has time to go out for a meal with me? She had to be on good terms with a doctor who could produce spirit-gathering fluid no matter what. I don't have time. Yin Luofeng snatched the banknotes from Fanya's hand and turned to leave after saying this. Watching her leave, Fanya smiled helplessly. What a domineering little girl. If this kind of person belonged to the medical pavilion, then the medical pavilion would become even more powerful. Fanya was about to walk towards the inner hall when she suddenly stopped in her tracks. Her beautiful eyes widened as she stared at a question on the question wall. Who answered this question? This question was the age-old problem that Elder Roan had found previously. It was to lure the person who could solve the Dachira flower poison. Therefore, Fanya had been paying attention to this question for the past few days. She did not expect that the question would be answered not long after she left. Upon hearing Fanya's words, a servant in the medical pavilion replied, Lady Fanya, the veiled lady you received earlier answered the question. This servant did not have a high position in the medical pavilion, so naturally, she did not know the importance of this matter. Hence, even though she had noticed Yin Luofeng's answer, she had not informed Fanya in time. Fanya's body trembled, and her heart was filled with regret. If she had known this would happen, she would have left the little girl behind. Now that there was a sea of people, where could she go to find him? The efficiency of the medical pavilion was very high. Within a day, the news about the spirit-gathering solution had spread throughout the entire imperial city. It even caused a sensation in the entire imperial city of Long Yuan country. The crown prince's residence. In the courtyard, the sound of a zither could be heard. Gao Ling stared intently at the beautiful lady who was playing the zither. His eyes were filled with an endless gentleness. This gentleness was something that he would never show to Yun Luofeng. Towards Yun Luofeng, there was only disgust. Chapter 46. The song ended. Mu Wushuang stopped what he was doing, gazing tenderly at the man who was focused on her, smiling. "Your Highness the Crown Prince, do you know about the recent events in Long Yuan country? You mean the spirit-gathering liquid?" Gao Ling was well aware of the meaning behind Mu Wushuang's words. This spirit-gathering elixir is indeed miraculous, and with the assurance of the medical pavilion, it will not go wrong. If you like it, this crown prince will buy it for you, will you say? Mu Wushuang hesitated for a moment, then slowly said, "Your Royal Highness, I heard that General Yin also wants to buy the spirit-gathering medicinal liquid and is now borrowing money from everywhere. The spirit-gathering medicinal liquid is too precious. If Yin Luofeng can cultivate, then it's fine to give it to her, but the problem is that she can't become a martial practitioner. So what's the use of the spirit-gathering medicinal liquid? Isn't it a waste?" "Wushuang, don't worry. I will instruct all the officials in Long Yuan country not to lend any money to the general's mansion, who asked a prodigal daughter to appear in the general's residence. I heard that Yin Luofeng squandered all of the Yun family's assets. This caused General Yun to fly into a rage." Gao Ling harumphed coldly, his expression disdainful. "Luckily, I broke off my engagement with this wastrel. Otherwise, one day, my crown prince's residence will be ruined by her." Mu Wushuang smiled. His eyebrows were full of smiles. "Crown prince, because of you, Yin Luofeng's reputation is so bad, and he is so pitiful. So, I want to find a marriage for her. When the time comes, I will need your help, crown prince." As long as he thinks of that peerless face, Mu Wushuang can't help but grit his teeth in hatred. Therefore, she must find a marriage for that woman. At the very least, it was a marriage that would make her wish she was dead. "Wushuang, I'll leave the decision to you." Gao Ling stared at Mu Wushuang with a gentle gaze. "Initially, I didn't want to care about that good-for-nothing's life or death. However, since you've spoken up for her, I'll make the decision this time. If it weren't for your help, based on that good-for-nothing Yun Luofeng's physique, she would never be able to find someone willing to marry her." Mu Wushuang's smile became more and more alluring. Before Jailing could see it, a vicious light flashed in his eyes. "Yun Luofeng, you will forever be inferior to me. His talent was inferior to mine, and his ability was inferior to mine. Even her ability to control men is inferior to mine. In this life, I will live a prosperous life and live a life that everyone envies. As for you, you're only qualified to stand at the bottom and look up at my existence. I'm going to marry a powerful person in the world, but you still need me to choose a husband for you. As for the spirit-gathering elixir, I must obtain it. As for you, you don't even have the right to drink my bathwater." In the study of the Yun family, Yin Luofeng had just walked in when he heard the old man cursing and even the sound of things being kicked. "A bunch of ungrateful things. You've always pretended to be close to me. Now, I'm just borrowing money from you. You run away faster than dogs. Don't let me see you again." "Borrow money?" Yin Luofeng froze for a moment, then walked in. She looked at the messy study, and a wicked smile appeared on her face. "Grandpa, what's going on? Why are you so angry?" "Humph, it's all because of those bastards, especially a few of them. I've helped them before, but now that I'm in trouble, I've asked them to lend me money, but they've all rejected me." The old man was still in a fit of anger, his beard trembling as he cursed. "Why do you want to borrow money? Is the 45 million taels I asked someone to put into the treasury not enough? What 45 million? The old man was about to continue cursing when he suddenly regained his senses. His eyes stared fixedly at Yin Luofeng as his breathing quickened. "Did you just say it was very much? Our family has 45 million taels?" Chapter 47. Yin Luofeng stared at the old man in shock. He didn't know. He looked as if he was truly shocked that the old man was unaware of this. Didn't Qingyan tell you? Mushun had sent me 45 million taels yesterday. I've already asked her to use it to fill up the treasury. An eerie silence fell over the room. Following Yun Luofeng's words, the grim atmosphere in the study instantly quietened down. Yin Luofeng stared fixedly at the young girl in front of him. Even his breathing had become labored. Fenger, can you explain to me what's going on? No one knew the surging emotions in the old man's heart. He had to use all his strength to suppress his heart, which was about to jump out his chest. However, his trembling body still revealed the emotions in his heart. Grandfather! Yin Luofeng raised her head and stared at the old man's twitching face. Her features no longer displayed her usual demonic charm. In its place was a solemn expression. I will avenge my parents' death. The first step in my revenge is Prime Minister Mu's mansion. Hence, when Mu Shun had sought me out for treatment, I had extorted a large sum of money from him. This was only the beginning. This was only the beginning. In the future, she would gradually cause the Prime Minister's mansion to decline and trample the imperial power beneath her feet. Of course, to avoid scaring the old man, Yin Luofeng did not say this out loud. Ha ha! The old man was stunned for a moment before he burst into laughter. How many years has it been? How many years has it been since I've had such a smooth life? Ever since Fenger's parents had died, he had been living in this sullen state. Now, his precious granddaughter had actually set the Prime Minister's mansion up. If the Prime Minister's mansion were to find out about this, they would certainly be half dead from anger. Yun Luofeng shrugged her shoulders. You still haven't told me why you're borrowing money. Hearing this, the old man's expression instantly turned serious. My precious granddaughter, don't you know? Recently, a bottle of spiritual gathering liquid has appeared in the medicine pavilion. There's only one bottle, so many members of the imperial family and nobles want to buy it. Grandfather, of course, does not want to fall behind, so he's borrowing money from everywhere to buy this spiritual gathering liquid. Spiritual gathering liquid? Yin Luofeng was shocked. She never thought that her grandfather would borrow money to buy the spiritual gathering liquid for her. In an instant, a warm current flowed through her heart. I don't need that spirit gathering liquid. Seeing the old man's expression when he spoke of the spirit gathering elixir, Yin Luofeng thought for a moment and decided not to tell him, in case the old man's heart couldn't handle the shock. You silly girl, what nonsense are you saying? Now that we have so much silver, I must obtain this spirit gathering medicinal liquid no matter what. Yin Luo glared at Yin Luofeng as he spoke in a bad mood. Yin Luofeng smiled helplessly. He had sold the spirit gathering elixir for 10 million taels of silver. He couldn't possibly let this old man buy it back for double the price, right? Wouldn't that be a huge loss? Take a look at my strength. Fenger, don't cause trouble. Grandfather already said. Before he could even finish his sentence, Yin Luo was frightened by his unintentional glance. His entire body stiffened, and his eyes widened in shock as he stared at Yin Luofeng in disbelief. Intermediate beginner spirit. You've broken through? 5 days ago, this girl was only a low-level beginner spirit. In just 5 short days, she actually broke through to the intermediate spirit? F*CK. How is this trash? She's clearly a genius among geniuses. Grandfather, do you think that with my speed, I still need to buy some spiritual gathering liquid? Yin Luofeng crossed his arms in front of his chest and smiled devilishly at Yin Luo. Then, under his shocked gaze, he turned and left. Chapter 48. Miss, Mu Shun has been waiting for you the entire morning. Just as Yin Luofeng stepped out of the study, Servant Qing Yin hurriedly greeted him. It doesn't matter if I let him wait for half a day. Yin Luofeng smiled devilishly. He raised his hand and pinched Qing Yan's apple-like cheeks. Then, under the aggrieved gaze of the servant, he walked towards the backyard. Let's go. Let's settle Mu Shun's matter as soon as possible. I still have other things to do. In the backyard, Mu Shun paced back and forth anxiously. All of a sudden, he caught a glimpse of the beautiful young lady who was walking towards him. His eyes lit up, and he almost pounced on her and licked her lips. Godly doctor, you're finally here. I've been waiting for you here for a long time. Yun Luofeng glanced at him. You've waited for too long? Do you have any complaints? How would I dare? How would I dare to have any complaints? Mu Shun was so frightened that his entire body trembled. He hurriedly replied, even if you let me wait for a month, I wouldn't dare to have any complaints. I wonder if we can start the treatment now? Yin Luofeng walked into the room and said without turning his head, come in. After today, you could be like a normal man. Mu Shun was stunned. He had originally thought that the treatment would take a long time. Who would have thought that the godly doctor's treatment would be different? He only needed 1 day. Thinking of this, he suddenly became excited and hurriedly stepped into the room. The medical pavilion was already crowded with people. The high officials and nobles of Long Yuan country had blocked the entrance of the medical pavilion. The guards inside the medical pavilion had rushed out to maintain order. General Yin, you actually came here. I heard that your Yin family's fortune has been squandered away by Yin Luofeng. You were even angered to the point of insanity by him. In the end, you still shamelessly came to the medical pavilion. Haha, in my opinion, you've wasted your energy. Buying the spirit-gathering liquid for Yin Luofeng is just a waste. Within the crowd, someone with sharp eyes spotted Yin Luofeng and couldn't help but burst into laughter. Yin Luofeng's expression was very ugly, but he stood there without saying a word. Although Yin Luofeng had already asked him to give up on the spirit-gathering liquid, he was still unwilling. What's more, his granddaughter was so talented. With the addition of the spirit-gathering elixir, she would be able to achieve twice the result with half the effort. Unfortunately, Yin Luofeng did not expect Yin Luo to be so stubborn. Otherwise, she might have mentioned the matter regarding the spirit-gathering liquid. With my orders, no one will lend money to General Yin. But why did General Yin come here? Crown Prince Gao Ling glanced at Yin Luo, and his eyes darkened. A sharp glint flashed across his eyes as he turned to the girl in yellow beside him and asked with concern, Wu Shuang, you don't look too well today. Did something happen? I'm fine. Mu Wushuang shook his head and gently lowered his eyelids. She didn't tell His Royal Highness that this morning her grandfather, Prime Minister Mu, wanted to use the silver from the treasury to buy the spirit-gathering liquid for her. Who knew that the treasury would be robbed? He had lost 45 million taels of silver, and this was the majority of the Prime Minister's mansion's wealth over the years. After everything that had happened, it would be strange if she could look good. Wushuang, if there's anything you need, just tell me. I will help you. Gao Ling looked at Mu Wushuang tenderly as his eyes flashed with a hint of absent-mindedness. Only such an outstanding woman could be worthy of him, who was equally outstanding. That good-for-nothing Yin Luofeng was not worthy of becoming his wife. Chapter 49. Crown Prince, Wushuang is really fine. It's just that she didn't sleep last night because she was trying to find a good husband for Yin Luofeng. She's a little tired now. I was worried that Yin Luofeng would be too arrogant. I'm afraid that she wouldn't accept the husband I picked for her. Mu Wushuang would never tell the Crown Prince about what happened in the Prime Minister's mansion. Naturally, he pushed all the blame onto Yin Luofeng. When Gao Ling heard Mu Wushuang's words, his face darkened. You've worked so hard for her, and she still dares to be so ungrateful. Does a good-for-nothing like her have the right to be arrogant? Wushuang, I believe in your ability. Once you've chosen a suitable candidate, I will ask my imperial father to decree the marriage. Even if she doesn't want to, she has to. What right does a good-for-nothing have to be picky? It's already good enough that someone is willing to marry her. But if it wasn't for Wushuang, who would be willing to marry a good-for-nothing? As Gao Ling and Mu Wushuang conversed, they did not forget to signal to the others to continue making things difficult for Yin Luo. Normally, due to Yin Luo's strength and status, they wouldn't dare to go overboard. However, now that they had received the Crown Prince's signal, all of them stood out in order to curry favor with the future monarch, facing Yin Luo with stern and righteous expressions. General Yin, I say that you're not very kind. It's a waste to use the spirit-gathering elixir on a good-for-nothing like Yin Luofeng. It's better to leave it for someone who needs it. So, I advise you to give up on competing with us. In Long Yuan country, other than the officials and nobles, there were also the 4 major families. The person who spoke was the head of the Lin family, Linning. Bullshit. Who are you calling a good-for-nothing? Yin Luo was so angry that his beard trembled. He glared fiercely at Linning. My granddaughter is more outstanding than anyone else. Whoever dares to say that my granddaughter is a good-for-nothing, I'll kick them out of here. Linning was shocked by the old man's imposing manner. But when she remembered that the crown prince was present, this old man did not dare to be presumptuous. She mustered up her courage and said, General Yun, are you angry because of embarrassment? Or did I poke a sore spot? Ha! Who doesn't know that the #1 genius in Long Yuan country belongs to His Royal Highness, the Crown Prince? The Prime Minister's mansion's Mu Wushuang's talent is also on par with the Crown Prince's. Other than these two people, who else can be called outstanding? The old man's body trembled as he clenched his fists tightly. A powerful aura emanated from his body. However, at this moment, an evil voice rang out from behind him, causing his body to freeze. Didn't I tell you? I don't need this essence-gathering potion. Why did you still come? This voice was filled with helplessness. The old man couldn't help but turn his head. His gaze fell on the white-clothed girl. Fenger, why are you here? I'm here to buy medicinal herbs. What Yin Luo Feng had said was the truth. The medical pavilion had a record of all the medicinal ingredients that were sold. Hence, after she had sold the spirit-gathering medicine yesterday, it was not convenient for her to continue buying medicinal ingredients. Otherwise, her identity would be discovered from the medicinal ingredients that she usually bought. General Yun, I think your granddaughter is more sensible. She knows that she's a good-for-nothing. Using the essence-gathering potion on her is a waste. You should go back and rest. Why waste money? Linning burst into laughter. Her disdainful eyes swept across Yun Luofeng's beautiful face. What's the use of a beautiful woman? In the end, she's just a vase that looks good, but is useless. No man would be willing to have such a vase at home. Chapter 50. Hey, what's going on here? Why are you guys quarreling? Just then, a seductive voice rang out, causing all the men present to feel their bones go numb and their bodies to feel weak. Under the perverted gazes of the crowd, Fanya walked over. The corners of her lips curled up in a seductive manner. Her seductive eyes were filled with a dense, amorous feeling. With every frown and smile, one could see the myriad of amorous feelings she possessed. It's all because of this good-for-nothing from General Yun's mansion. As a good-for-nothing, she still dares to come to the medical pavilion to steal the spirit-gathering medicinal liquid. We just don't want the spirit-gathering medicinal liquid to be wasted by this good-for-nothing. That's why we asked her to leave. Now that you're here, let's chase this good-for-nothing out of here. Fanya raised an eyebrow, and her gaze fell upon Yin Luofeng. She gently raised the corners of her lips and walked towards a young girl. Anyone who comes is a guest. Our medical pavilion doesn't have the habit of rejecting guests, especially when you're such a beauty. TSK. I don't think any woman in Long Yuan country can compare to this little girl in terms of looks. Mu Wushuan's eyes darkened. He obviously did not like what Fanya had said. What did she mean by Yin Luofeng is the most beautiful woman in Long Yuan country? Could it be that I, Mu Wushuan, am inferior to this idiot? This smell is so fragrant. Fanya moved closer to Yin Luofeng and gently sniffed. Her seductive face lit up with a mesmerizing smile. She was obviously making a perverted gesture, but it looked so pleasing to the eye. Since you're here to buy medicinal herbs, follow me in first. Yin Luofeng nodded her head. She walked to Yin Luo's side and raised the corners of her lips devilishly. A bottle of spirit-gathering medicinal liquid costs 20 million gold coins. It's too expensive. If you want to buy this spirit-gathering medicinal liquid, then we'll be making a huge loss. So go back first and wait for me. When the time comes, I'll give you a surprise. After some thought, Yin Luofeng decided to tell Gao Ling about the spirit-gathering medicinal liquid. Even if this old man could not handle it, it was better than spending so much money to buy the spirit-gathering medicinal liquid. Gao Ling heard Yin Luofeng's voice and laughed mockingly. Yin Luofeng, you may not be as annoying after your failed suicide attempt, but you're too arrogant. You actually said that 20 million gold coins is too expensive for the spirit-gathering medicinal liquid, and he suffered a great loss? Let me tell you, even if it was 30 million taels of silver, there would still be people who would buy it. Only someone like you who doesn't know what's good for you would think that the spirit-gathering medicinal liquid is too expensive. Yun Luofeng ignored Gao Ling's words and walked into the medical pavilion. Yun Luofeng, who was walking in front, didn't notice that before Fanya left, she looked at Gao Ling as if he was an idiot. Your Highness. After seeing his granddaughter leave, Yin Luo's face darkened. Don't think that I don't know why the ministers in the imperial court are unwilling to lend me money. I originally wanted to endure it for a while, but I didn't expect you to become more and more excessive. Today, you have looked down on my granddaughter. One day, you will regret it. Extremely remorseful? The crown prince sneered. Abandoning Yun Luofeng was the best decision he had ever made, and he would never regret it. These are the herbs I need today. After entering the medical pavilion, Yun Luofeng took out a piece of paper and placed it in front of Fanya. Fanya's lips curled into a smile, and she took the paper from Yun Luofeng. She winked and said, You've earned so much money for our medical pavilion. I won't charge you for these herbs. I'll give them to you for free. Yun Luofeng looked at Fanya in shock. What do you mean by that? Had her identity been discovered? Impossible. This was the second time he had come into contact with Fanya. How could she have discovered it? Chapter 51. Miss Yin, we won't beat around the bush. You were the woman who brought the spirit-gathering liquid to us a few days ago. Fanya swayed her slender waist and walked in front of Yin Luofeng in a flirtatious manner. You should know that no matter how a person changes their appearance, they cannot change the scent on their body. Moreover, I am very sensitive to scent. Yin Luofeng stroked his chin and smiled evilly at Fanya. This is the first time I found out that Miss Fanya Zodiac is actually a dog. In front of a shrewd person like Fanya, there was no point in hiding anything. He might as well admit it openly. I have one more thing to ask you. Fanya covered her lips and smiled. Were you the one who cured the mandara flower's poison? A look of astonishment flashed across Yun Luofeng's dark eyes. He thought for a moment and asked, How did you find out? So was you. Fanya's heart leaped with joy. Miss Yun, come with me. Elder Rong wants to see you. Elder Rong? Yin Luofeng was stunned when he heard this name. Elder Rong wants to see me? I've heard that Elder Rong of the medical pavilion is very arrogant. Even the descendants of the imperial family might not receive him when they visit. Why does he want to see me now? Miss Yin, you'll understand if you come with me. In the cabinet, Elder Rong gently held the teacup in his hand and said to the middle-aged man next to him, It seems that this spirit-gathering liquid has caused quite a stir. It's a pity that there's only one bottle. By the way, Murong, have you found the whereabouts of the person I asked you to find? Murong looked helpless. Right now, we only know of two characteristics about the mysterious doctor in our team. Firstly, according to Miss Fong, the mysterious person is a young woman. Secondly, the woman is dressed in white. However, in the vast sea of people, I'm afraid it will be very difficult to find someone based on these two characteristics. We have to find her even if we can't, even if we have to mobilize all the resources of the medical pavilion. The whereabouts of this mysterious doctor is related to the survival of the entire medical pavilion. Hence, he must find her. Knock, knock, knock. A series of knocks came from outside the door. Before Elder Rong could ask anything, Fanya's seductive voice sounded from outside the room. Elder Rong, I found the doctor who cured the mandara flower's poison. Boss Rong's hand trembled, and he almost spilled the tea in his hand onto the ground. He stood up from his chair with a swoosh. Due to his excessive excitement, his voice trembled slightly. Let her in, quick. As soon as he finished speaking, the door to the room was pushed open. Fanya, dressed in red, stepped into the room first. Following that, a figure dressed in snow-white robes behind Fong entered Elder Rong's sight. The young girl was extremely beautiful. Her skin was white like jade, and her beauty could topple a city. A smile hung on the corners of her lips, and it was evil and lazy. Her brows revealed an innate arrogance and domineering aura, causing others to be unable to ignore it. Yin Luofeng, as the #1 trash in Long Yuan country, it was impossible for Murong to not have heard of Yin Luofeng's name. Now that he saw that the person Fanya was looking for was her, one could imagine the shock in his heart. However, for some unknown reason, the Yun Luofeng today seemed to be slightly different from the Yun Luofeng he had seen in the past. You're the doctor who solved the mandala flower poison? Astonishment flashed across Elder Rong's eyes. Of course, he wasn't astonished by Yun Luofeng's identity. Rather, although he had long known that the mysterious doctor was very young, he didn't expect her to be so young. Looking at her age, she was probably only 14 or 15 years old. Chapter 52. That's right. Yin Luofeng nodded lightly and crossed his arms as he leaned against the door. His tone was lazy and wanton. If you have anything to say, just say it. I still have other matters to attend to. If you want me to treat your illness, I won't do it for less than 50 million. What was arrogance and confidence? Yin Luofeng had perfectly interpreted it. Murong, who had wanted to explain Yin Luofeng's identity to Elder Rong, stood rooted to the ground. If you can really cure the Mandara flower poison, forget 50 million. Even if you want 100 million, we'll give it to you. Elder Rong looked at Yin Luofeng seriously. He was very confident in Fanya. Since Fanya had found someone, there should not be any mistakes. Oh, Yin Luofeng rubbed his chin and smiled lazily. Your medical pavilion is really polite. If I don't take 100 million, I'd be letting you down. How about this? I'll cure you of the Mandara flower poison, and you'll give me 100 million. Also, I want to change the distribution of the spirit gathering elixir in the future. One bottle of spirit gathering elixir will be sold for 20 million, and I want 19 million. Elder Rong was stunned. He had just casually mentioned 100 million, and this girl was actually going to raise the price so rudely? Wait. Suddenly, Elder Rong regained his senses and stared at Yin Luofeng in astonishment. What did you mean by that? You said that the spirit gathering elixir is yours? Also, you have other spirit gathering elixirs? Puffed. Fanya could not help but laugh. Elder Rong, I forgot to tell you that the genius who answered the age-old question and the seller of the spirit gathering elixir are the same person. They're both this girl. Elder Rong's entire body trembled, his eyes filled with disbelief. He never thought that something like the spirit gathering elixir would come from the hands of a 14-year-old girl. Girl, if you can cure the Mandara flower poison, we'll agree to any of your requests. During this time, Elder Rong had tried to cure the poison himself. Unfortunately, there were still a few points that he did not understand. Therefore, Yin Luofeng had to personally cure the poison. All right, Yin Luofeng glanced at Elder Rong, but I don't want too many people to know about this. When you need the antidote, you can send someone to the Yin family to find me. Elder Rong's eyes flickered. Little girl, may I ask you one last question? Who is your master? I'm sorry, but my master doesn't like others to know of his existence. I didn't answer your question. Yin Luofeng yawned and slowly straightened his body. If there's nothing else, I'll be leaving first. I'll send the rest of the spirit-gathering liquid to the medical pavilion. After speaking, Yin Luofeng turned to leave. When she reached the door, she paused and said without turning her head, That's right, Fanya, I'll have to trouble you to deliver the herbs I need to me at the general's residence. After saying this, she left. Murong, who is this Yin Luofeng? Elder Rong asked in a daze as he stared at the disappearing figure of the girl. Elder Rong, this Yin Luofeng is the only child of the general's residence. She was born a waste and unable to cultivate. She used to be engaged to the crown prince, but not long ago, the crown prince broke off the engagement with her. Moreover, I heard that the crown prince and Prime Minister Mu Wushuang are very close. Mu Wushuang? Elder Rong frowned. The woman who wanted to see me several times? Yes, it's her. Chapter 53. Elder Rong grunted coldly when he heard this. Even though Yin Luofeng can't cultivate, her medical skills alone are enough to make all the powerhouses in the world work for her. Not to mention that she now possesses something like the spirit-gathering elixir. I studied it all night yesterday and still couldn't figure out the formula for the spirit-gathering elixir. If this gets out, the crown prince will probably cry and beg for her forgiveness. Puffed. Fanya couldn't help but laugh. Elder Rong, did you know that just now, The crown prince mocked Yin Luofeng for not knowing what was good for her, and that she wasn't worthy of using something like the spirit-gathering elixir. I really want to see his expression in the future. It will definitely be very interesting. Did he really say that? Elder Roan was very surprised. After a moment of silence, he said, I've met the crown prince before and thought that he was someone important. Now, it seems that the crown prince is nothing more than this. Fanya Murong, from now on, if anyone from the royal family comes looking for me, I will not meet them. Even if the emperor comes, I will ignore him. This time, not to mention Murong, even Fanya was very surprised. Elder Roan, I know that you admire Yin Luofeng, and are even more grateful that she was able to cure my lord. However, for Yin Luofeng to reject the members of the imperial family, I'm afraid. Fanya, you don't understand. Previously, I tried to get information from Yin Luofeng, wanting to know who her master is, but she refused to tell me. She even said that her master doesn't want outsiders to know her name. As such, I can guess that her master is definitely that person. Elder Roan narrowed his eyes. That fellow's medical skills are excellent, and his temper is strange. If Yin Luofeng is really his disciple, we definitely can't offend Yin Luofeng. Fanya was stunned. Elder Roan, are you saying that Yin Luofeng is that genius doctor's disciple? I'm not very sure, but in this world, aside from him, who else could have such a disciple? Master was poisoned by the Dachira flower and originally wanted to seek treatment from that genius doctor, but he refused. If Yin Luofeng really did cure Master, I can guarantee that he is that genius doctor's disciple. Elder Roan raised his head to look at Fanya and instructed her seriously. Fanya, now that we have an antidote, I need to go back. I'll leave the matters here to you. Remember, you need to please Yin Luofeng, but you don't have to be too deliberate. If you're too deliberate, it will make people unhappy. Yes, Elder Roan, I understand. Fanya's eyes were no longer as charming as they used to be. Instead, they were filled with determination. Yin Luofeng had just walked into Yun family's hall when he saw the old man sighing in despair. The old fellow clearly saw Yin Luofeng walking into the main hall. He stared at her with a resentful gaze. Feng, shouldn't you give grandfather an explanation? Why don't you let me fight for the spirit-gathering liquid? Grandfather knows that you have outstanding talent now, but if you have the spirit-gathering elixir, your cultivation will definitely speed up. Yin Luofeng stopped in his tracks, shrugged, and said, It wasn't easy for me to earn 10 million from selling the spirit-gathering elixir, and now you want to spend 20 million to buy it for me. Grandpa, even if you want to squander, you shouldn't do it this way. Do you think it's easy for me to earn pocket money? You stupid girl. You actually said that your grandfather is a wastrel. When the old man heard the word squander, he flew into a rage. He was just about to teach this little girl a lesson when he realized what she meant. His jaw dropped in shock. What did you just say? You were the one who sold the spirit-gathering liquid? Chapter 54. Yin Luofeng glanced at the old man. Your reaction seems to always be slower than others. In the past, if the old man had heard Yin Luofeng's words, he would have flown into a rage. But now his mind was in a daze. How could he hear a single word that Yin Luofeng had said? That was the spirit-gathering liquid that had caused a sensation in the entire imperial city. What's more, when he had gone to fight for the spirit-gathering liquid today, he had been humiliated. But he never thought that the spirit-gathering liquid would come from his granddaughter. This intense surprise made his heart tremble. His entire body swayed, and he almost fell to the ground. I was afraid that you would become like this, so I chose to hide the matter of the spirit-gathering liquid from you for now. I never thought that you would be so wasteful that you actually wanted to buy the spirit-gathering liquid for double the price. Yin Luofeng shook her head and sighed. By the way, grandfather, your power is now at the junior high spiritualist level, right? The old man's emotions slowly calmed down. When he heard Yin Luofeng's words, he nodded. His head was still a little dizzy. I feel that you're on the verge of a breakthrough. Yin Luofeng stroked her chin. She seemed to be afraid that the old man had not been shocked enough. So she added, Grandfather, do you remember the master I mentioned to you before? He was the one who gave me this spirit-gathering liquid. After a while, I'll raise your power to the intermediate high spiritualist level. Yin Luofeng knew that the old man would definitely be curious about the origins of the spirit-gathering liquid. So, she once again brought up the fictitious master. Boom! The old man's heart, which had just calmed down with great difficulty, finally collapsed when he heard Yin Luofeng's words. He staggered and fell heavily onto a wooden chair, panting heavily. Are you all right? Yin Luofeng jumped in fright and hurriedly walked over to the old man's chest. Even though she had been mentally prepared, she never thought that the old man's heart would be so strong. Actually, from another perspective, if a beggar who was bullied every day suddenly received a windfall of 100 million, the beggar's reaction would be even more intense. Those with weaker hearts would probably faint immediately. You damn girl, are you trying to make life difficult for me? Are you trying to scare me to death? Yin Luo finally recovered, and the first thing he said was to scold Yin Luofeng fiercely. In the future, if you have any problems, tell me one by one. You F** king, two scares squeezed together. I'm already lucky not to be scared to death by you. Yin Luofeng smiled evilly. I'm just worried that I'll scare you again when I help you increase your strength in the future, so I might as well tell you both at the same time. Fonger, is what you said true? Can you really help me increase my strength? Yin Luo's eyes lit up. If I can increase my strength, I will be one step closer to the #1 fighter in Long Yuan country. The #1 expert in Long Yuan country was a high martial artist like Yin Luo. However, that expert was an advanced high martial artist and was on a completely different level from Yin Luo, who was a low-level high martial artist. Of course it's true. Yin Luofeng nodded. But I need time. Give me enough time. Not only can you break through, I can also help second uncle recover his strength. Ha ha! The old man laughed heartily. His hearty laughter filled the entire Yun family's house. You're really worthy of being my granddaughter. I'm very glad that you and the crown prince have broken off the engagement. That crown prince is only suitable for a woman like Mu Wushuang. How can he be a match for my precious granddaughter? Moreover, I believe that it won't be long before the crown prince regrets his choice. Chapter 55. In the drawing room, the old man stroked his white beard, his face flushed with success. There's one more thing that I need you to help me with. Yin Luofeng's lips curled into an evil smile. Since you've returned your million troops to that dog emperor, now our Yun family needs to establish our own power. The old man was silent for a moment. Feng, you need to think this through. We need to recruit people to establish our power. This will cause too much of a commotion, and it may arouse the emperor's fear. At that time, if the royal family oppresses us, our Yun family will not be able to rise again in our current situation. Grandfather, I've already thought about this. A light flashed across his black eyes, and the smile on Yin Luofeng's lips deepened. Not long ago, I beat up Mu Shun on the streets, and my reputation as a hedonist has already spread. Since that's the case, why don't I be a hedonist even more thoroughly? You can tell others that I threw a tantrum at home and forced you to recruit 100 guards and 100 maids for me. As for this recruitment, you can ask that dog emperor to help you complete it. The old man was stunned and said hesitantly, Foma, that's not very good, is it? You want to recruit people to establish an army that belongs to our Yun family. If you ask the royal family to help you with this, with his wariness, he will definitely choose some people with low talent. I don't care about the talent of those people, as long as their bodies are not flawed and they're under the age of 18. It didn't matter if they were low talent. She had the divine encyclopedia of medicine. No matter how stupid they were, she had a way to improve their talent. Fonger, there's one more thing that you haven't considered. If you ask the emperor to recruit people for you, and he sends in spies, then everything you've done will be known to him. Faced with Yin Luofeng's question, Yin Luofeng smiled. His eyes were full of confidence. As long as he dares to send in spies, I dare to take in spies. As long as he dares to send in spies, I dare to take in spies. How much confidence did she have to be able to say such arrogant and unruly words? Yin Luofeng sighed. At this moment, he suddenly realized that he really didn't understand his granddaughter at all. Fonger, I'll enter the palace in a moment and ask the people in the palace to help me recruit people. All right. Yin Luofeng blinked his eyes. "Grandfather, when you meet the emperor later, don't forget to blackmail him. Everyone says that the Yun family's fortune was squandered away by me. So go and prove this rumor." The old man was speechless. This was probably why Yin Luofeng wanted the people from the palace to help her recruit people. There was no time to lose. Yin Luo didn't stay any longer. After changing into his court attire, he quickly got someone to prepare a sedan chair and hurriedly set off for the palace. When he entered the imperial study, he discovered that other than Emperor Gao Tu, even the crown prince was present. A look of hesitation appeared on his face, but his expression quickly changed. Compared to the radiant look he had when he was in the general's residence, the current him seemed a bit dispirited. "Old general, why have you come to see me?" When Gao Tu saw Yin Luo's expression, he sneered in his heart. He didn't even need to think to know that Yin Luofeng had caused trouble again. "Your Imperial Majesty." Yin Luo knelt on the ground with a thud. His elderly figure seemed thin and frail. "My granddaughter thinks that there are too few servants in the general's residence, and that it doesn't suit her status as the eldest Mississippi. Thus, she asked me to help her recruit 100 guards and 100 servant girls. But I'm already old. How can I work so hard? So I've come to ask for your Imperial Majesty's help." Chapter 56. A sense of astonishment flashed across Gao Tu's eyes, but it was more of a sense of schadenfreude. "General, you have made countless contributions. As your granddaughter, Yin Luofeng should naturally enjoy a grandeur that surpasses that of the imperial princes. Therefore, we have sent His Highness the Crown Prince to help you recruit people. Thank you, your Imperial Majesty, for your great kindness. I have one more request for your Imperial Majesty's help." Yin Luo raised his elderly features, and his face was filled with exasperation. "Your Imperial Majesty, you must have heard that my granddaughter has recently become obsessed with the art of medicine. For this reason, I have spent all of the general's money on medicinal herbs. Therefore, my residence cannot afford to support so many people. I wonder if your Imperial Majesty would be willing to pay for their monthly allowance?" Of course. Gao Tu's face lit up with a smile. "By then, the guards and maids of the Yun residence will be paid by the Imperial Palace every month. Treat it as a reward for your meritorious service." "Thank you, your Imperial Majesty. I shall take my leave." Yin Luo crawled to his feet, joined his fists, and walked out of the study. At this moment, no one noticed that the moment he turned around, his old, chrysanthemum-like face had already bloomed into a smile. This pair of father and son could never have imagined that in just a few days, the Yun family would suddenly produce a demonic army. The members of that army had been selected by the Crown Prince on behalf of the Yun family. Even the money used to support this army had been contributed by them. When they found out about this pair of father and son had nearly died from anger. "Imperial Father, what do you think this General Yin Luo is trying to do?" Gao Ling furrowed his brows. Could it be that he is secretly recruiting soldiers? Rebelling against the Imperial Palace? If he really wanted to recruit soldiers, he would not have come to the Imperial Palace to report this. He would not have allowed the Imperial family to participate either. Gao Tu laughed icily. "That's why I believe that Yin Luofeng is forcing him to do this. Linger, when you help General Yun recruit people, make sure that the people he recruits are of the lowest quality." Gao Ling turned his gaze towards the outside of the study and sighed. "Imperial Father, I feel that General Yun's residence has reached its end. First, Yin Luofeng had squandered all of our money, and now she is torturing General Yun. With such a good-for-nothing and hedonistic granddaughter, General Yin Luo's lifespan will probably be shortened. Before long, they'll be angered to death by Yin Luofeng alive." Actually, Gao Ling had some respect for General Yin Luo. Unfortunately, someone like General Yin Luo had managed to raise a good-for-nothing like Yin Luofeng. With Yin Luofeng's existence, how could the general's residence not be defeated? Originally, we wanted Yin Luofeng to be your concubine. But now, it seems that a person like her isn't even fit to be a concubine. As long as Yin Luo dies, she will be useless. Gao Tu's voice was very cold. In comparison, Mu Wushuang from the Mu clan is much better. She is talented, kind, and has the demeanor of a motherly model to the world. Furthermore, she is Jing Lin's disciple. In Long Yuan country, only Mu Wushuang is compatible with you. Gao Ling smirked. Yin Luofeng is a good-for-nothing. He's only there to show off Wushuang's excellence. That's all he's good for. The efficiency of the royal family was indeed different. In just a few days, they had already recruited the people that Yin Luofeng needed. However, when he saw the aptitude of these people, the corners of Yin Luofeng's mouth could not help but twitch. His heart was filled with worry. Based on these people's talents, could they really become great generals that could sweep away thousands of soldiers in the future? Yin Luofeng did not believe this, but he still brought these people back to the general's residence. Chapter 57. At the back of the mountain, a man stood between the trees. His black robe fluttered gently in the breeze. His voice was cold and deep, but it made people feel as if there was a sharp edge on their backs. "How was the matter I asked you to investigate?" Lin Xiong, who was kneeling in front of him, did not dare to raise her head. She replied stiffly, "Master, according to my investigation, Prime Minister Mu has been at odds with the general for more than 10 years. He deliberately leaked information about Miss Yun's parents to the enemy country, which led to the death of her parents. Secondly, the second master of the Yun family, Yun Qingge, was seriously injured. General Yin went to the palace to ask the royal doctor to treat him, but was stopped by Mu Wushuang's master, Jing Lin, which led to Yun Qingge's death." Yin Xiao did not speak. However, at this moment, Lin Xiong clearly felt the air around her tighten, and the pressure on her body became much heavier. Thirdly, Lin Xiong swallowed. Miss Yun was originally engaged to the crown prince, but the crown prince was jealous of Mu Wushuang. Not long ago, Mu Wushuang secretly gave the crown prince an idea. This idea was to frame Miss Yun for robbing a handsome man on the street, which led to her losing her reputation and almost her death. However, even the crown prince did not know that this idea was given by Mu Wushuang. He only passed it on to him through someone else's mouth. These are just the 3 main points. These days, I also found out a lot about the Mu family bullying Miss Yun. During this period of time, Lin Xiong finally understood how special Yin Luofeng was to Yun Xiao. If she wanted to please her master, she would have to work hard on Yin Luofeng. Hence, she had been very meticulous in her investigations over the past few days. From the grudges between the elders to the humiliation of Yin Luofeng by the prime minister's residence. Even if it was just a word or a small matter, she would respectfully report it. After reporting everything she had found to Yun Xiao, Lin Xiong asked flatteringly, "Master, should I destroy Prime Minister Mu's residence? I can also destroy the royal family, who asked them to join forces to bully Miss Yun." From Yun Zhao's expressionless face, it was difficult for Lin Xiong to read his emotions. However, Lin Xiong could feel that her master was angry. The best proof was that the pressure on his body had become even more intense. Even the air around him seemed to have solidified, making it difficult for him to breathe. Lin Xiong wanted to cry. She was just reporting the news. Did master have to scare her like this? Sure enough, a person who could talk to his master must have a strong psychological endurance. Otherwise, he could scare you to death. She doesn't like people meddling in her affairs. Under Lin Xiong's fear, Yun Xiao finally spoke. His voice was as cold as ever. Revenge. Taking revenge himself was the most satisfying thing. So, it's fine as long as the people from Prime Minister Mu's mansion don't die. However, it did not mean that he was willing to swallow his anger. Lin Xiong was stunned. Did master mean that as long as they were alive, they could do whatever they wanted to the people of the Prime Minister's residence? Yes, this subordinate obeys. Lin Xiong respectfully cupped her fists, and her eyes lit up. This time, he must perform well. Who asked those bastards from the Prime Minister's residence to bully the mistress? That was right. In Lin Xiong's eyes, Yin Luofeng was already their future mistress. Otherwise, why would her master conceal her identity and come to the general's mansion, even willingly becoming a guard? The next day, 2 pieces of news spread throughout the entire Long Yuan country. First, Prime Minister Mu's residence was robbed. The missing silver had been stolen by Mu Shan. He had even used the stolen silver to buy a ginseng that was said to be able to prolong one's life. In the end, it was verified that it was just an ordinary ginseng. 45 million taels of silver had been swindled. Chapter 58. Mu Xingqiu was so angry that he beat him up so fiercely that he almost beat him to death. The second piece of news was that the Mu family had been robbed at night. The Mu family's study and treasury had been burned down by a huge fire. All the valuables had been smashed to pieces. Even Mu Xingqiu had been beaten up by the thief. It was estimated that he would not be able to get out of bed for at least 3 months. When Gao Tu heard about this, his royal countenance became furious, and he was determined to find the thief. This uproar had caused everyone in the imperial city to feel insecure. The rich and powerful were afraid that the thief would patronize them, while the powerless were afraid of being framed as a thief. However, those people were obviously thinking too much. A thief who could come and go as he pleased in the Prime Minister's residence and cause such a ruckus was certainly not an ordinary person. They would never look for the thief among the ordinary people. However, when these two pieces of news reached Yun Luofeng's ears, she raised her brows. Mu Shun did not sell me out. She never thought that Mu Shun would actually keep his promise. Even when he had been beaten half to death, he had not revealed the true whereabouts of the 45 million gold coins. He had even lied about it. There was no such thing as a roaming peddler. It was useless no matter how hard the Prime Minister's residence searched. Furthermore, Mu Xingqiu was currently bedridden. Where would he find the time to look for the roaming peddler that Mu Shun had mentioned? Miss, I really admire the thief who patronized the Prime Minister's residence, Qing Yin said in admiration. Who asked those people to always bully you, miss? This time, that chivalrous thief has helped us vent our anger. You don't need to worship that thief. Yin Luofeng pinched Qing Yan's cheek and smiled evilly. You can worship me. Miss, Qing Yin stomped her foot and pouted coquettishly. However, Miss has indeed changed a lot. Why do those people outside always call Miss a hedonistic child? Miss is clearly not that kind of person. Their mouths are on other people's bodies. They can say whatever they want. Yin Luofeng raised her brows and stood up from the chaise longue. Let's go. Grandfather had already gathered everyone for me yesterday. Now, I should go and take a look at the candidates. There were hundreds of people standing in the courtyard. Half of them were men and women, and they were looking around. When they saw the white-clothed girl walking over, the crowd slowly quietened down. Looks like the royal family is quite efficient. They really are not stingy at all to find a group of people with low aptitudes for me. Yin Luofeng yawned lazily, his demonic eyes sizing up the people standing in the courtyard. The aptitudes of these people were very low, so low that they couldn't be any lower. They were only a little better than the trash, Yin Luofeng. If it was someone else, even if they trained for a lifetime, they would not be able to break through to the intermediate spiritualist boundary. He could only spend his entire life crawling at the bottom. Feng, Yin Luo laughed bitterly and replied helplessly. These were all personally chosen by the Crown Prince. I followed your wishes and decided that they are all under the age of 18. Grandfather, don't worry. Since I've chosen them, I have my ways. Yin Luofeng raised the corner of his lips devilishly. I'll arrange for these people to stay in my Yun family stone room. Yin Luo was stunned for a moment. You're saying that before the stone room that second uncle stayed in? He swallowed the words that were on the tip of his tongue and looked at Yin Luofeng in confusion. Yin Luofeng knew what he wanted to say and nodded. That's right. Arrange for them to stay there. As for what to do next, I'll explain it when the time comes. I'm tired now, so I'll return to the back of the mountain to rest. After saying this, she did not give Yin Luo a chance to ask any more questions and headed towards the back of the mountain. Chapter 59. Back of the mountain. Yin Luofeng walked into the room and hurriedly closed the door. She walked quickly to the large bed. After she lay down, a white light flashed. When she came back to her senses, she was already standing in the divine grimoire space. What she saw was a cute baby face. At this moment, the baby's expression was very sad. Its big black eyes stared at her with grievance. Master, you only come to see me once every few days. I'm so bored here alone. Yin Luofeng curled his lips, and his peerless features lifted into a demonic smile. Xiao and Mo, I'm here to ask you something. Do you have a way to make sure that no one can enter within 500 meters of the general's mansion? Little Mo's eyes became even more sad. Master, you only come to see me if there's something. If there's nothing, you don't come to see me. Even so, Little Mo was a cheating artifact that answered all of Yun Luofeng's questions. I don't have the method you're talking about. However, if you want to prevent outsiders from finding out about your training, you can ask Milk Tea for help. Milk Tea can help you dig an underground training ground in a few days. When that time comes, no one will notice that you're training the troops there. Yin Luofeng fell silent. The Yin family stone room was very big, but she had also recruited many people. If they were squeezed in the stone room, they wouldn't be able to train. However, if they were to train in the Yin family's courtyard, it would be easy for others to find out and spread the news. This would be very disadvantageous to the Yin family. Master, the spirit herbs have been successfully cultivated. Feed Milk Tea all of them, and it will break through one level. If you want Milk Tea to break through faster, you must prepare more valuable spirit herbs. Little Mo looked at the silent Yin Luofeng and continued. Gigi, Milk Tea could no longer hold back. Her big round eyes looked around and finally landed on the spirit herbs in the medicine field. She almost drooled. Milk Tea is currently a low-level beginner spirit. After breaking through one level, she will become a mid-level beginner spirit. This level of strength is useless to me now. However, the digging speed should be much faster. Yin Luofeng caressed Milk Tea's head. Go, these spirit herbs are all yours. As a condition, I'll leave the underground training ground to you. Gigi, Milk Tea excitedly called out twice. With a shio sound, she jumped down from Yin Luofeng's arms. She held a spirit herb in her hands and began to gnaw on it. Master, plant the medicinal herbs you bought a few days ago into the medicinal field. According to the current size of the herbal field, you should be able to plant 10 types of medicinal herbs. These 10 herbs happen to be able to concoct 2 kinds of medicinal liquids, namely the spirit gathering liquid and the marrow cleansing liquid. Little Mo blinked his eyes. His voice was as soft as cotton candy. Master, the spirit gathering liquid made from spiritual herbs can be used continuously for a month. Unlike those ordinary medicinal herbs, the effects would be minimal after a day and completely lose their effects after a week. As for the marrow cleansing liquid, it is recorded in the divine canon of medicine. It can improve a person's talent. Even a good-for-nothing can become a genius after using the marrow cleansing liquid frequently. Yin Luofeng had indeed seen the 3 words marrow cleansing fluid in the divine encyclopedia of medicine. And this was also the reason why she had the confidence to nurture those useless people into experts. How many days will it take to cultivate these herbs into elixirs? 15 days. 15 days? Hearing Little Mo's words, Yin Luofeng thought for a while. In that case, I'll use 15 days to control this team of 200 people. Chapter 60. After leaving the Holy Medicine Hall, Yin Luofeng's consciousness returned to her room. She felt a hand gently caressing her cheek, the scorching fingertips causing her to open her eyes abruptly. She quickly grabbed the other party's hand and narrowed her eyes as a dangerous light flashed across them. Yin Xiao, what are you doing? If the other party had not been Yin Xiao, but another man, perhaps she would have thrown him out long ago. I want to look at you. The man's eyes stared straight at Yin Luofeng. His clear gaze was like a bolt of lightning that fiercely crashed into Yin Luofeng's heart. This fellow knows nothing about the matters between men and women. How could he have such vulgar thoughts? Clearly, she had been overthinking things. Yin Xiao. Yin Luofeng's expression gradually returned to normal, and she smiled lazily. You sneaked in like this, I thought that you wanted to warm my bed. The man looked at Yin Luofeng with sincere and determined eyes. If you're afraid of the cold, I'll warm your bed every day. Yin Luofeng's expression stiffened, and she sighed exasperatedly. Yin Xiao, have you ever been in contact with a woman? The man shook his head honestly. What about the servant girls? No. You should have seen erotic pictures, right? Erotic pictures? What's that? The man frowned, clearly not understanding what Yin Luofeng was talking about. Yin Luofeng rubbed her forehead. Then what do you usually do besides cultivating? Kill people. The man's voice was very ordinary, as if killing people was as simple as eating a meal. It was an essential part of his daily life. Yin Luofeng was completely speechless. She never thought that there would be a man on this mainland who had never been in contact with a woman since he was young. Where had he been living all these years? After all, this roaring dragon mainland was not Huaxia. In Huaxia, one could understand the entire world without even stepping out of one's home. Yun Xiao. Yin Luofeng gently raised the corners of her lips, and a demonic smile hung on her peerlessly beautiful face. Someone like you, who knows nothing about the matters between men and women, has never been deceived and deceived by other women. Her heart was filled with curiosity towards Yin Xiao. She wondered how he had survived all these years to become so naive. The man frowned. I'll kill anyone who tries to get close to my woman. He was disgusted by the smell of other women. Any woman who tried to get close to him would be thrown to the wolves, especially the way they looked at him. It made him feel disgusted. Only Yin Luofeng. Not only did he not feel disgusted by her, he even wanted to get close to her. Mississippi. At this moment, Qing Yin hurriedly ran into the room from outside. She said while gasping for breath, His Highness the Crown Prince has sent someone over. He said he wants to see eldest miss. Ever since Yin Luofeng moved to the back mountain to live, only Qing Yin and Yin Xiao could come to the back mountain. However, even if it was them, she would not allow second uncle to be exposed in front of their eyes. Crown Prince? Yin Luofeng lazily stretched his waist and walked down from the bed. I want to see why this crown prince is looking for me. Yes, Mississippi. Qing Yin giggled as she followed Yin Luofeng out of the door. After the two figures had completely disappeared, Yin Xiao frowned and said coldly, Lin Xiong. Chapter 61. His voice was low and hoarse, but it was mixed with spiritual power. It was loud enough for the person in the dark to hear him. As soon as he finished speaking, a man in a gray robe flew over and landed in front of Yin Xiao. Master, what can I do for you? Yin Xiao was silent for a while, then asked randomly, Have you ever been in contact with a woman? Lin Xiong was stunned. She did not expect that her master had asked her to come out just to ask this question, because Lin Xiong was afraid that Yin Luofeng would discover him. He kept a distance from them. Moreover, Yin Luofeng and Yin Xiao did not speak loudly, so he did not hear what they were talking about. Well, Lin Xiong scratched his head. Master, you don't have any women working for you, so I don't often come into contact with women. I only go to the brothel occasionally after completing my tasks. Do you know about erotic pictures? Yin Xiao frowned and asked again. Lin Xiong was completely dumbfounded. What had happened to her master? Why did he take the initiative to ask about erotic pictures? Master, do you want an erotic picture? Yes. Yin Xiao replied in a low voice. Prepare an erotic picture for me. Lin Xiong was so frightened that he could not even speak. Master actually wanted to see erotic pictures? Had he been enlightened? Yes, I will do as you say. Lin Xiong hurriedly cupped his fists respectfully. Then, he seemed to remember something and said, Master, I sense that there was another person in the back mountain of the Yun family. Should we? The man's cold gaze fell on Lin Xiong. Lin Xiong was so frightened that he trembled and hurriedly lowered his head. Please forgive me. How could he have forgotten that his master's strength was so great? With his strength, he should have long sensed the existence of the other person. But he did not say anything, nor did he investigate. From this, it could be seen that the other person's relationship with the Yun family. However, he had dug his own grave by revealing this matter. Given his master's means, he would not forgive him so easily. Go back and receive your punishment. The man's voice was cold and ruthless, but it was like a heavy blow to Lin Xiong's body. Your subordinate understands. A layer of cold sweat appeared on Lin Xiong's forehead. She could not help but feel a chill run down her spine when she thought of the punishment that her master had set. Remember, don't get involved in things that you shouldn't. After saying these words, Yin Xiao walked out of the room. Just as he was about to step out of the room, he said, Bring me the erotic picture before you go back to receive your punishment. After Yun Xiao disappeared, Lin Xiong's legs gave way and he fell to the ground. He slapped his mouth hard, his face full of regret. Who asked you to be so talkative? Great. Now you have to go back and accept your punishment. The Yun family's main hall. The old man's expression was a little impatient as he looked out of the door with a sullen expression. When he saw the beautiful girl walking towards him under the sunlight, his expression eased up. Feng come to Grandpa. Yin Luo waved at Yin Luofeng and said amiably. Hearing this, Yin Luofeng walked over to Yin Luo's side. She then glanced at the man dressed in the Crown Prince's guard uniform and raised her brows as she asked, Why did the Crown Prince send you to find me? His Highness the Crown Prince has sent me to deliver an invitation to the eldest lady. An invitation? Yin Luofeng was stunned. She took the invitation from the guard's hand and smiled when she saw the contents of the invitation. I understand. Go back and tell the Crown Prince that I will be attending the banquet later. Chapter 62. The guard cupped his fists and left. After he left, Yin Luo frowned and asked, What does the Crown Prince want to do? It's like this. Yin Luofeng closed the invitation. Tonight, the Crown Prince is holding a banquet by the Qin River. Basically, all the nobles of Long Yuan country are attending. That's why he sent someone to deliver the invitation. However, there have been many gatherings in the past, but I've never been invited. Now, it seems that the Crown Prince wants to show off his love for Mu Wushuang in front of me and humiliate me. You and the Crown Prince have already dissolved your marriage. Is there a need for him to do this? Grandfather, have you forgotten? It's true that the Crown Prince wants to dissolve our marriage. But in the end, this matter was brought up by our Yun family. In this way, the nature of the matter has changed. It's me who has abandoned the Crown Prince. Even if everyone knows that the Crown Prince is in love with Mu Wushuang, it will still embarrass the Crown Prince. He wants me to understand that without him, I won't be able to find a better man. Yin Luofeng's face lit up with an evil smile. Since he wants to show off his love, I'll satisfy him. What's wrong with that? Feng, I don't recommend you to go. Yin Luo frowned. Although you can cultivate now, your strength is still far from the Crown Prince's. If you go like this, you'll be at a disadvantage. Yin Luofeng's black eyes shone with a dazzling light, and between his brows revealed the brilliance of confidence. Don't worry, I will never let anyone suffer a loss. The one who will suffer a loss will always be others, not her. Do you want Yin Xiao to accompany you? Yin Luo was still a little worried. In his heart, those people were like wolves and leopards. How could his delicate and tender granddaughter withstand their attacks? Isn't it making a mountain out of a molehill to let Yin Xiao deal with those people? Yin Luofeng raised his eyebrows. I can go alone. Grandfather, I'm going to prepare for tonight's banquet. Don't worry and wait for me at home. She patted Yin Luo's shoulder, smiled mysteriously, and walked out by the Qin River. The sound of the zither lingered in the air. Inside the noisy and luxurious ship, many young talents were loudly discussing poems and songs or the difficult problems they faced in cultivation. Gao Ling and Mu Wushuan, who were surrounded by these people, became their idols. That's right, Your Highness. Didn't you say that Trashin Luofeng would also come today? Why hasn't he appeared yet? Guan Lin, the son of the Minister of War, suddenly asked. The bustling crowd suddenly quietened down. After a long while, an even louder discussion broke out. Your Highness, why did you invite trash like Yin Luofeng? People like her don't deserve to talk to us. That's right, this Yin Luofeng was at most a piece of trash in the past, but look at what he's done recently. First, she squandered all the assets of the general's residence, and then she forced General Yun to recruit guards and maids for her. General Yun is already old, but she still has to work hard for her. Why doesn't someone like her die? She's completely heartless and ungrateful. Your Highness the Crown Prince, you didn't despise her talent and were still willing to marry her. But she actually tried to steal a handsome man in the middle of the street. How can there be such a shameless woman in this world? Mu Wushuan listened to these people's insults towards Yin Luofeng and felt extremely carefree in her heart. However, her face did not show it. Her face still carried a noble and elegant smile. "This matter has nothing to do with the Crown Prince. I was the one who asked the Crown Prince to invite her here. Besides, the purpose of my invitation is very clear. I will choose a husband for her from among you as compensation for the Crown Prince breaking off the engagement with her." Chapter 63. What? After hearing Mu Wuxuan's words, Guan Lin's emotions became agitated. "Miss Mu, Yin Luofeng is just a piece of trash. All of us here are geniuses. He's just a pretty face. How could he be worthy of us?" "That's simple." Mu Wuxuan's maidservant, Xiao Ju, heard this and stood up. "Yin Luofeng has been using his position as the old general to bully others. With the old general here, it's impossible for him to make her a concubine. Now that the old general is old, he doesn't have many days left to live. When the old general dies, he will demote her to a concubine and no one will be able to protect her." "Xiao Ju." Mu Wuxuan's face darkened and pretended to scold her. "Who allowed you to interrupt? Step down." Mississippi Xiao Ju tried to defend herself, full of grievances. "I'm just feeling sorry for Mississippi. Yin Luofeng first seized His Royal Highness the Crown Prince, and now he's come to the Prime Minister's residence, demanding that Miss find a husband for him. Otherwise, she will continue to pester the Crown Prince. If she really wants to pester the Crown Prince, the old general will definitely protect her. At that time, not only will His Royal Highness be in a difficult position, even His Majesty will be in a difficult position." Mu Wuxuan's face changed, and his voice became even more severe. "Xiao Ju, I've told you that you can't let anyone know about this. Don't tell me you've forgotten." At this time, in another private room on the luxury ship, the gentle fourth Prince Gao Shaoqian couldn't help but laugh as he listened to the master and servant duo in the hall. "It seems that my imperial brother's eyes aren't that good. He can't even see through a double act." He shook his head, his eyes carrying a cunning smile. "However, Yin Luofeng is not as simple as she seems. I'm very curious, what kind of person is she?" Indeed, as Gao Shaoqian had said, Gao Ling did not hear the master and servant duo's double act. Now that he saw Mu Wuxuan still speaking up for Yin Luofeng, his handsome face couldn't help but sink a little. "Wuxuan, when you proposed to find a husband for Yin Luofeng, wasn't it your own idea? Was it because you were forced by Yin Luofeng?" Jailing's eyes were like torches as he stared coldly at Mu Wuxuan. "You said before that you were afraid that Yin Luofeng would not agree to this marriage. I even planned to ask father for an imperial edict. I didn't expect her to propose this marriage herself." Mu Wuxuan smiled bitterly. "Your Highness, Wuxuan has no choice but to do this. What's more, Yin Luofeng's eyes are indeed on top of her head. She may not be satisfied with the husband I found for her." Gao Ling sneered as the disdain in his eyes intensified. "What right does she have to be so arrogant? Wuxuan, since she opened her mouth to you, this prince will help you with this matter. At that time, when this prince finds a husband for her, she will have to marry him even if she doesn't want to. Little Chrysanthemum is right. She can rely on the old general to act like a tyrant now. Once the old man dies, no one will protect her, and she can become a concubine." Everyone looked at each other and fell silent. Although Yin Luofeng was trash, she was beautiful. If she was taken as a concubine, many people would be willing. Marrying a wife was based on appearance and talent. Marrying a concubine only required one to be as beautiful as a flower. It seems that today's banquet will be very lively. Suddenly, a languid voice sounded from outside the cabin door, attracting everyone's attention. Under the dusky sky, a young girl leaned against the cabin door. The corners of her lips curled into a demonic smile as she stared at the crowd in the hall. Chapter 64. The young girl's eyes were pitch black, like a boundless night sky. She is clearly looking at you, but it gives you the feeling that you are not in her eyes. This feeling of contempt, usually only those in a superior position would have. But now, Yin Luofeng is giving them this feeling. "You're here?" Mu Wuxuan's heart trembled, and she slowly regained her composure. She maintained a noble and elegant demeanor, not revealing the jealousy in her heart nor the fact that she was on good terms with Yin Luofeng. Instead, she spoke in the tone of a powerhouse facing an ant. You're late. Yun Luofeng's lips curled up, and her pitch-black eyes turned towards Jailing. The smile on her lips was sinister and cold. Your Highness, the Crown Prince, had written the time on my invitation card. Could it be that Your Highness had deliberately written the wrong time? Mu Wuxuan could not possibly say that the Crown Prince had written the wrong time. Hence, she unquestionably put the blame on herself. I'm guessing that we've all remembered the wrong time and arrived early. I'm sorry, I shouldn't have blamed you for being late. This sentence pushed Yun Luofeng to the opposite side of the crowd. Could it be that she was the only one who had written the correct time? Could it be that all of them had remembered the wrong time? Yun Luofeng, don't go too far. Jailing's handsome face sank as he pulled Mu Wuxuan into his arms. His eyes were as sharp as a sword as he shot Yun Luofeng. The time I wrote was indeed 5:15. You're the one who's late, and you're pushing the blame onto Wuxuan. Wuxuan, you don't need to apologize to this good-for-nothing. In Jailing's arms, Mu Wuxuan took advantage of the fact that no one was looking to gently raise the corners of her lips. The Crown Prince had written the time at 5, but she had changed the time to 5:15 when the Crown Prince was not paying attention. Crown Prince. Mu Wuxuan subconsciously tried to break free from the Crown Prince's embrace. Her willowy eyebrows furrowed. Please let go of me. It's not good to do this in public. Besides, Yun Luofeng is your ex-fiancé. Hearing this, Jailing rubbed her body even tighter and said domineeringly, It won't be long before you become my official wife. Why not? You, Mu Wuxuan, are not only a proud daughter of heaven, but also a disciple of Jinglin. At such a young age, you already have such high medical skills. How can Yun Luofeng compare with you? Mu Wuxuan blushed and no longer struggled. He snuggled into Jailing's broad chest with a satisfied and happy smile on his lips. Yun Luofeng stretched lazily as he watched the shameless couple snuggle up to each other. A smile flashed across his demonic black eyes. I'll leave you with a word of advice. Those who show off their love will die faster. Gowling's handsome face grew uglier and uglier. Just as he was about to open his mouth to teach Yun Luofeng a lesson, Mu Wuxuan reached out and held him back. Forget it, Your Highness. No matter what, you were once Yun Luofeng's fiancé. It's normal for her to be unhappy with what you've done. Mu Wuxuan shook her head at Gowling. Her beautiful eyes turned to Yun Luofeng, her posture elegant and noble. Yun Luofeng, I heard that you've recently become obsessed with medicine. Why don't we discuss it? Puffed. As soon as Mu Wuxuan's words fell, Guanlin, the son of the Minister of War, couldn't help but laugh out loud. Miss Wuxuan, you're looking for the wrong person to discuss medicine with. How can Yun Luofeng compare to you? You're Jinglin's disciple. Your medical skills are superb. What is she? A prodigal son who uses money to buy herbs and burn them for fun. I'm really curious. She bought so many herbs, yet she didn't poison anyone to death? Chapter 65. Guanlin. Mu Wuxuan frowned and said in a disapproving tone, You're wrong. Who hasn't walked from the beginning without knowing anything? Yun Luofeng has this hobby. It proves that she's not useless. Guanlin curled her lips, disapproving of Mu Wuxuan's words. A waste like Yun Luofeng would certainly not be able to learn medicine, and no one would be willing to accept her as a disciple. Only Mu Wuxuan would be kind enough to give her some pointers. Yes, in Guanlin's view, Mu Wuxuan's claim to discuss medicine with Yun Luofeng was clearly to give her some pointers. Yun Luofeng. Mu Wuxuan once again turned to Yun Luofeng. With your beginner state, if no one teaches you, you will definitely take a lot of detours and waste countless medicinal herbs. Why don't I teach you a few points? With these points, it will be more useful than 10 years of reading medical books by yourself. Did Mu Wuxuan really want to teach Yun Luofeng? No, she was doing this to humiliate her, to let Yun Luofeng know that apart from her appearance, she was completely useless. Moreover, she also knew that with Yun Luofeng's temper, it was absolutely impossible for her to accept her guidance. Okay, just when Mu Wuxuan thought that Yun Luofeng would refuse her, the girl's voice with a smile sounded lazily. Her expression immediately stiffened. Taking advantage of the fact that no one was paying attention to her, she slowly recovered her noble expression. Yin Luo Feng, if you have anything you want to ask me, feel free to ask me. I will do my best to answer you. Yun Luofeng gently stroked her chin, her black eyes with a playful smile. I want to know how to cure the poison of the Dachira flower. Mu Wushuang was startled. She pondered for a while and said, if I remember correctly, the poison of the Dachira flower is a question posted on the wall of the medical pavilion. Even the doctors of the medical pavilion can't solve it. Yin Luofeng, this answer, even if my master came, he wouldn't be able to answer you. I suggest you start from the most basic. The poison of the Dachira flower is not something you can touch right now. The implication was that even the doctors of the medical pavilion couldn't solve the problem. Even if she couldn't answer it, it was still excusable. The detoxification method for Dachira poison is very simple. Yin Luofeng yawned, lazily leaning against the door of the ship. You can't even answer such a simple question. What right do you have to discuss with me? Yin Luofeng. Gao Ling was so angry that he clenched his fists so tightly that his knuckles cracked. It felt like he was going to punch Yin Luofeng in the face at any moment. You are deliberately making things difficult for Wushuang. In the end, Gao Ling restrained his urge to hit someone and said angrily, even the medical pavilion is helpless against the mandala flower's poison. What right do you have to say that the cure is simple? You asked this question on purpose. Let me warn you, do not bite off more than you can chew. Medical skills must be learned from the very beginning. Wushuang kindly guided you, but I was humiliated by you. Now that you've lost such a good opportunity, you're destined to be trash. The atmosphere in the cabin suddenly became serious. Everyone looked at the furious crown prince, but no one had the courage to interrupt him. Amidst this tense atmosphere, the sound of someone falling to the ground could be heard from the cabin, instantly attracting everyone's attention. The old man's breathing turned pale as he curled up on the ground, trembling. Beside him, a beautiful young girl supported his body as she cried out anxiously, someone, hurry up and save my grandfather. My Ning family will be deeply grateful to anyone who saves my grandfather, and will give them generous gifts. Chapter 66. Ning family? Everyone looked at each other, their eyes filled with surprise. Among the 4 major families of Long Yuan country, there was no Ning family. So where did this Ning family come from? Looking at their attire, they didn't seem to be from a small family. Seeing that everyone was indifferent, the beautiful girl gritted her teeth and increased the conditions. If anyone can save my grandfather's life, I will give you 1,000 years old ginseng as a reward. 1,000 years old ginseng, hiss. Everyone sucked in a breath of cold air. Even His Majesty the Emperor only had one such precious item. Moreover, that ginseng was still some time away from reaching 1,000 years old. Who would have thought that this girl would give them 1,000 years old ginseng as a reward? Where did they come from? Because the luxury ship was very spacious. In addition to the main hall, there were more than a dozen luxurious private rooms. This girl was obviously not with Gao Ling and the others. Guan Lin chuckled. Young lady, let me tell you the truth. Among us, only Miss Wu Shuang can save you. It's impossible that you don't know Miss Wu Shuang's reputation. She's the peerless genius of our Long Yuan country, and her medical skills are superb. In the entire mainland, there's no one who's better than Miss Wu Shuang. So, you're in luck this time. You've met your savior. The beautiful girl's eyes lit up, following Guan Lin's gaze to Mu Wushuang. She seemed to be grasping at the last straw of hope, and said anxiously, Miss, please save my grandfather. My grandfather can't die. As long as you save him, the Ning family will owe you a great favor. This time, they left the family to visit famous doctors to treat their grandfather's illness. Who would have thought that their grandfather would suddenly fall ill? In fact, even the doctors in the medical court said that there was no cure for his illness, and they could only try their best to prolong his life. Therefore, they didn't have high hopes for this trip. They just wanted to try their luck. Who would have thought that she would really be so lucky? Listening to the young man's words, it seemed that this girl, named Mu Wushuang's medical skills were very good, even better than those in the medical court. Maybe she could really cure her grandfather. Mu Wushuang pretended to be modest. I can't guarantee that I can cure your grandfather. I can only try my best. Miss Wushuang, don't be so modest. You have a famous doctor as your master, and his medical skills are incomparable. If you can't cure this disease, who else can? Guanlin continued to flatter Mu Wushuang. It was obvious that his flattery made Mu Wushuang feel very good. However, her expression did not show it at all. She still maintained the noble and elegant demeanor of a strong cultivator. The beautiful girl's eyes lit up again. He said that Mu Wushuang is a disciple of a famous doctor. Could it be the one that grandfather had mentioned before? It was said that that person's whereabouts were always uncertain, and he had an eccentric temper. Finding him was harder than ascending to the heavens. In her opinion, only that person could cure her grandfather. In an instant, the beautiful girl's heart was filled with confidence. If she knew that Mu Wushuang's master was just a lowly imperial physician of the Long Yuan country, would she be so angry that she would give Guanlin a good beating for exaggerating? Yin Luofeng leaned lazily against the door of the ship, smiling evilly as he looked at Mu Wushuang, who was about to treat the old man. He looked like he was watching a good show. What are you laughing at? Guanlin glanced at the smile on Yin Luofeng's face and coldly snorted. Among us, the one with the best medical skills is Miss Wushuang. What's the meaning of you laughing at her? Do you think you can cure diseases? You really don't know the immensity of heaven and earth. Chapter 67. In the cabin of a ship, under the dusk, Mu Wushuang walked elegantly towards the old man who had fallen to the ground. There was a shallow smile on her face, her beautiful eyes flowing with light as she whispered to the beautiful girl, "Miss, can you step aside and let me diagnose your grandfather's illness?" The girl nodded desperately. A glimmer of hope rose in her eyes. She was also desperate to find a doctor. She didn't even find out Mu Wushuang's identity and rashly asked her to treat him. Mu Wushuang squatted beside the old man, her fingers on his pulse, her willowy eyebrows slightly wrinkled. "Miss, your grandfather's condition is a bit complicated. I'm afraid I have to go back and discuss it with Master." Her words were very conservative. She didn't say that it couldn't be cured, nor did she say that it could be cured. She just left room for people to speculate. "Your master?" The girl's anxious eyes after hearing the first half of Mu Wushuang's words couldn't help but light up. She nervously grabbed Mu Wushuang's arm and begged, "Take me to see your master. As long as he can save my grandfather, I can promise you anything." Mu Wushuang's willowy eyebrows wrinkled. Her face was embarrassed. "My master is not willing to treat just anyone. If I take the liberty to take them back, I'm afraid I will be severely punished by him." The girl's eyes dimmed. Her grip on Mu Wushuang's arm involuntarily loosened. How could a famous doctor of his generation treat others at will? It seems that grandfather is really hopeless. How about this? Mu Wushuang's eyes turned slightly. "I can go back and plead with Master. If he is willing, I will inform you. How about this?" Before she could finish her words, suddenly, a burst of laughter interrupted her words. Mu Wushuang's willowy eyebrows wrinkled. Her beautiful eyes swept to the beautiful girl standing with her back against the door. She said seriously, "Yin Luofeng, I know you can't put down your face to discuss medical skills with me, but when I was treating the patient, I didn't let anyone leave. I wanted you to learn a few things. Why don't you understand my good intentions?" Her tone was just like a master teaching his disciple. If it fell into the eyes of those who didn't know the truth, it was estimated that Yin Luofeng would be regarded as an undisciplined disciple. Mu Wushuang. Yin Luofeng slowly straightened his body, his smile lazy and demonic. "To be honest, I'm starting to admire you." Mu Wushuang smiled elegantly. In her opinion, it was normal for a waste like Yin Luofeng to admire her. Then, Yin Luofeng's words caused her to freeze in place. "You don't know the identity of this grandfather-granddaughter pair, so you plan to fool them first before going back to investigate their background. If they don't have any background, you can snatch the 1,000-year ginseng without fear. If they have a background, you can just say, this old man's illness is something even your master can't do anything about. Mu Wuxuan, I really admire you. Undeniably, Yin Luofeng's words had spoken Mu Wuxuan's true thoughts. It also caused her expression to change involuntarily. Yin Luofeng, I know you hate me, but even if you hate me, there is no need to frame me. I just pity them and want to do my best to save them. If I really can't save this old man, it's not my fault. Mu Wuxuang's expression softened. Even though my master's medical skills are brilliant, he can't cure every illness. The implication was that if the treatment failed, it wouldn't be her fault. Yin Luofeng. When Gao Ling saw his beloved woman being bullied, he immediately flew into a rage. What kind of deep hatred does Wu Shuang have for you to target her so many times? Doctors aren't immortals. They can't cure any illness. If you have the ability, then go ahead and save him. If you don't, then shut up. Chapter 68. Yun Luofeng curled the corners of his lips and stared at the enraged Gao Ling with a forced smile. If I can save him, you'll have to promise me 2 things. Oof. Gao Ling scoffed icily. If you can really cure this old man, forget about 2 things. I'll even agree to 100 of them. But first, you must save him. What if you go back on your word? Yin Luofeng crossed his arms over his chest and raised an eyebrow. There's so many witnesses here, why would I go back on my word? Gao Ling replied disdainfully. Yin Luofeng, this wastrel, aside from being a hedonist by nature, he also likes to spout nonsense. This was not the first time something like this had happened anyway. There was no way he could be trusted. These people are all your people, I don't trust them. Yin Luofeng raised a finger and said, I need to find someone who's fair. Just as she spoke, a gentle voice rang out from behind her. It made her feel as if she was bathed in a spring breeze, and her entire body felt comfortable. It was as if just listening to him speak was an ultimate pleasure. I'll be the notary. I wonder if Miss Yin is satisfied? Yin Luofeng turned around, and his gaze fell upon the man in embroidered robes who was walking towards him. He raised an eyebrow, and his lips curled into a mocking smile. I'm not sure if I should say that it's a coincidence or that His Royal Highness, the 4th Prince, is haunting me like a ghost. Why is it that every time I meet Mu Wuxuan, I also meet you? Could it be that His Royal Highness, the 4th Prince, is in love with Mu Wuxuan? Gao Ling's expression changed, and he shot a hostile look at Gao Shaoqin, clearly treating him as a rival in love. Cough, cough. Gao Shaoqin coughed drily, and his handsome and gentle features carried a sense of embarrassment. Miss Yin, are you kidding me? Do you think that everyone would mistake a fish's eye for a pearl like a certain someone? Compared to Mu Wuxuan, I'm more interested in you, Miss Yin. Yin Luofeng blinked. Unfortunately, I'm not interested in you. You should look for Mu Wuxuan instead. Miss Yin, don't you think that we're the same kind? Gao Shaoqin raised the corners of his lips and waved his fan. His smile was warm and kind, but it couldn't hide the craftiness in his eyes. So, this prince will sooner or later arouse your interest. Before that happens, you can't push me to someone else. The man's words were filled with obvious disgust towards Mu Wuxuan, causing Mu Wuxuan's expression to turn cold in an instant. Her arrogant, beautiful eyes glared icily at Gao Shaoqin. 4th Prince, Wuxuan's heart belongs to the Crown Prince. Even if you want to marry her, Wuxuan will not marry. Gao Shaoqin acted as if he hadn't heard Mu Wuxuan's words and continued to smile warmly at Yin Luofeng. Miss Yin, this prince will be the notary. Are you satisfied? As long as the 4th Prince doesn't protect the Crown Prince, why should I be dissatisfied? Yin Luofeng raised his eyebrows, and his eyes that were as dark as the night had a confident luster. If I can cure this old man, I hope that the Crown Prince can agree to 2 of my conditions. First, no matter what happens in the future, you are not allowed to pester me, and you are not allowed to mention your previous engagement. Gao Ling was stunned for a moment before he laughed mockingly. Don't worry, I will never pester you. Gao Ling would never have imagined that one day, Yin Luofeng's words would come true. Sure enough, he would never stop pestering Yin Luofeng, who has already shown his talent and ability. He even shamelessly tried to restore their engagement. The second condition, Yin Luofeng's lips curled up as his dark eyes turned towards Mu Wuxuan. I want you to slap Mu Wuxuan. I'll decide when you want to stop. Chapter 69. Yin Luo Feng. Gao Ling couldn't help but roar, his tightly clenched fists creaking. I'm warning you, don't go too far. I will never agree to your request. Yin Luo Feng crossed his arms over his chest and glanced sideways at the ashen-faced Gao Ling, chuckling. Your Royal Highness, do you mean that I can cure this old man? Otherwise, why won't you agree to my conditions? You. The veins on Gao Ling's forehead bulged. He looked like he was about to explode. At this moment, a small hand as warm as jade grasped his fist, followed by Mu Wushuang's elegant and sweet voice. Your Royal Highness, what's the harm in agreeing to her request? I believe that she has no chance of making you do anything to me. Mu Wushuang smiled gently, completely different from her usual cold and elegant self. Even she can't save this old man. She doesn't believe that a beginner like Yin Luo Feng can. So, no matter what request she makes now, she will only be slapping herself in the face. Wushuang, since you've said so, this crown prince will give her this chance. Gao Ling held Mu Wushuang's hand, his tone gentle. When he glanced at Yin Luo Feng, his gentle expression changed to one of disgust. Yin Luo Feng, I know that you've made a scene today to attract this crown prince's attention. You succeeded. This crown prince has noticed you again, but at the same time, this crown prince is disgusted by you. In this life, don't even think about winning my heart. Gao Ling still couldn't believe that Yin Luo Feng was the one who proposed to break off the engagement 10 days ago. This Yin Luo Feng loves him to the bone. How could he bear to break off the engagement with him? It must be because old man Yin loves his granddaughter so much that he took the initiative to break off the engagement. Uffed. The fox guy Gao Xiaoqian accidentally laughed out, instantly attracting everyone's attention. What are you laughing at? Gao Ling's eyes darkened as he asked sharply. It's nothing. This prince is just wondering why there are so many shameless people in this world. Gao Xiaoqian smiled warmly. His fox-like, cunning eyes gently winked at Yin Luo Feng. Miss Yin, I wonder if this prince is correct. Of course, Gao Ling did not think that the person Gao Xiaoqian was talking about was Yin Luo Feng. When he thought of how Gao Xiaoqian had fought with him all these years, his expression turned cold and a cold light flashed across his eyes. Brother, you should pay attention to your status. You're just a prince. Who gave you the courage to be so arrogant in front of this prince? The crown prince of Long Yuan country had always been a crown prince. Even though the fourth prince was older than Gao Ling, who was the fifth prince, had won the title. There was no other reason than the fact that the crown prince was the son of the late empress. From the moment he was born, he was destined to be glorious. Everyone else was trampled under his feet. Gao Xiaoqian's eyes darkened as he said mockingly, reincarnation is really a skill. As long as one is reincarnated well, one's ability becomes secondary. However, someone threw away a dazzling pearl and picked up a fish's eye. He will regret this decision for the rest of his life. After saying this, Gao Xiaoqian no longer looked at Gao Ling. Instead, he smiled and looked at the beautiful young lady who was walking towards the old man. Can you step aside? Yin Luo Feng raised her eyes and said to the beautiful young lady in front of her, I'm going to perform acupuncture on him now. Chapter 70. The beautiful young girl froze for a moment and subconsciously walked to the side, opening up a path for her. Yin Luo Feng, Mu Wushuang frowned. Since you want to save someone, we don't want to stop you. But since our grandfathers are both officials, I'll teach you a few things. Before you save someone, you need to feel the patient's pulse. If you don't know how to feel a pulse, I can teach you on the spot. These words seemed to be instructing Yin Luo Feng, but in fact, it was telling others that Yin Luo Feng was a waste who didn't even know how to feel a pulse. A waste like her can only cure people to death. She can't save them. Little girl, don't you know the background of this Yin Luo Feng? She's a famous waste in our Long Yuan country. And you actually dare to let her treat your grandfather? She doesn't even know how to feel a pulse. And she dares to talk about treatment? Guan Lin laughed loudly, his words full of sarcasm and contempt. Yin Luo Feng raised her eyebrows and inadvertently glanced at Guan Lin, who was behind her. This gaze of hers seemed to be filled with disdain, arrogance, unbridled an awe-inspiring evil, causing Guan Lin's laughter to stop abruptly while a strand of astonishment flashed on his face. After a long time, he shivered and abruptly returned to his senses. This waste is still the waste of the past, but why is her gaze so frightening? I'll only give you one chance. Yin Luofeng retracted her gaze and turned her black eyes to the beautiful young girl who was hesitating because of Guan Lin's words. Save him or not, it's up to you. But, let me tell you, if your grandfather continues to be in a coma, I'm afraid he won't make it through today. The young girl's beautiful face showed a hint of struggle. Finally, she fiercely gritted her teeth. Miss, please save my grandfather. On the way here, her grandfather's condition had indeed worsened. If it were to be dragged on, it was estimated that he really wouldn't make it through the night. Now, she could only treat a dead horse as a living one. With the young girl's words, Yin Luofeng took out a cloth bag from her sleeve. She carefully opened the bag and pulled out a shiny silver needle. She pinched the silver needle between her fingers and aimed it at the old man's Bai point. She slowly pushed the needle into the old man's brain. As the needle was pushed in, Yin Luofeng's expression changed from its previous laziness to one of extreme seriousness. No one saw that after the silver needle was inserted into the old man's Bai acupoint, a white spiritual power gradually flowed along her silver needle into the old man's body. It was recorded in the Divine Encyclopedia of Medicine that when doctors were treating and saving people, they could fuse their medical skills with their spiritual power. This way, they could achieve twice the results with half the effort. Unfortunately, this method had long since been lost. In addition, saving people consumed a large amount of spiritual power, so it was obvious that very few people could do it to this extent. But Yin Luofeng was different. The Divine Codex of Medicine could replenish her spiritual power. In this way, whether it was during a battle or during treatment, she didn't need to worry about suddenly running out of spiritual power. Mu Wushuang shook his head and sighed helplessly. Crown Prince, this Yin Luofeng didn't even diagnose the old man's illness and rashly applied acupuncture on him, especially when the acupuncture point was the Bai acupoint. This kind of behavior has already proved her failure. My master could have cured her, but unfortunately, the implication was that with Jing Lin's ability, he could have completely cured this old man. But because of Yin Luofeng's actions, this old man was completely hopeless. I've said it before, Yin Luofeng doesn't have any real ability. She only knows how to fool people. Chapter 71. Gao Ling laughed icily as his eyes filled with ridicule. Just as he was about to continue mocking Yin Luofeng, the expression on his face froze. On the floor of the cabin, the eyelids of the old man, who had been deemed dead for sure, gently trembled. Then he opened his eyes in front of everyone's eyes. Everyone was in a daze. No one dared to believe what they had just witnessed. Does this good-for-nothing Yin Luofeng really have medical skills? This is even more unscientific than an ant raping an elephant. Grandfather, just as everyone was in a daze, a beautiful young girl's joyful voice rang out and broke the silence of the cabin. Grandfather, you're awake. You're finally awake. You scare me to death just now. The young girl happily grabbed the old man's arm and pulled him up from the ice-cold floor of the ship. She then turned towards Yin Luofeng excitedly. Thank you. Thank you so much. You've saved my grandfather, which is equivalent to saving the entire Ning family. I don't know how to thank you. Only then did the old man regain his senses. His eyes filled with gratitude. Miss, did you save me? I never thought that you would have such superb medical skills at such a young age. Not only do I feel refreshed, even my spirits are much better. Miss, can you completely cure my illness? Yes. Yin Luofeng's answer was very certain. In half a month, I can help you recover completely. When he had asked this question, the old man did not have much hope. It had not been easy for Yin Luofeng to awaken him. He did not have any hope of curing his illness at all. Who would have thought that Yin Luofeng would give him a definite answer? At this moment, the old man's heart felt like it had been reignited from the ashes. A hint of excitement appeared on his aged face. Miss, my surname is Ning. You may call me Elder Ning. This is my granddaughter, Ning Xian. You are about the same age, so you should be able to become friends. During your stay here, I will allow my granddaughter to follow you. If you have any instructions, you may ask her to carry them out. Elder Ning had his own considerations for allowing Ning Xian to follow Yin Luofeng. Even though his granddaughter was exceptionally talented, she was not mature enough. He could allow her to learn from Yin Luofeng for a period of time. Besides, if Yin Luofeng could really cure his illness, it would mean that her medical skills would surpass those of the medical pavilion. As such, there would only be benefits to befriending her. I have no objections. Yin Luofeng shrugged and turned to look at Jailing with a half-smile. He curled his lips and said, "Crown Prince, isn't it time for you to fulfill your promise?" The Crown Prince's expression was very ugly. It was as black as wok iron. His tightly clenched fist trembled slightly as he glared at Yin Luofeng. Yin Luofeng, you did it on purpose. No matter how he thought about it, he would never have thought that Yin Luofeng actually had medical skills. When did he learn medical skills? Why didn't anyone know? Guan Lin and the others didn't say anything. Thinking back to how they had ridiculed Yin Luofeng just now, they felt a burning pain on their faces. They were so ashamed that they wanted to find a hole to crawl into, in particular before everyone thought that Yin Luofeng didn't know what was good for her. Mu Wushuang kindly gave her 2 pointers, but she actually turned a blind eye to it. With Mu Wushuang's medical skills, could he guide her? It's more like she instructs Mu Wushuang. To think that Mu Wushuang could say that his guidance could make her study 10 years less. Wasn't she ashamed? Among those present, the one who was most embarrassed was Mu Wushuang himself. Yin Luofeng's actions were undoubtedly like a slap, ruthlessly slapping her face, filling her heart with jealousy and hatred. Even her usual elegant posture could not be maintained. Her sinister, beautiful eyes stared at Yin Luofeng. Chapter 72. Fortunately, no one was in the right state, so no one noticed the viciousness in her eyes. So what happened just now? Elder Ning, who was unaware of the situation, frowned and asked. Ning Xian immediately told him about the bet between Yin Luofeng and the Crown Prince, including what Mu Wushuang and the others had said, without missing a single word. "Oh, Miss Mu Wushuang, you want to give Miss Yin some pointers?" Elder Ning looked at the angry Mu Wushuang in surprise and said in a flat tone, "In that case, this old man will also give you some pointers. A real famous doctor doesn't need to feel the pulse to diagnose a disease. They only need to use their eyes to judge the condition. Those who even need to feel the pulse to diagnose a disease are just quacks." Mu Wushuang's body shook, tightly clenching her fists, the hatred in her heart burning like a raging fire. It's all Yin Luofeng's fault. If it weren't for him, she wouldn't have been humiliated like this. She wouldn't have been called a quack. However, because of this Yin Luofeng, she couldn't say anything to refute. Xian, Elder Ning turned to look at Ning Xian. "You should learn more from Miss Yin in the future. I think this Miss Yin is very good. Her medical skills are superb, and she's steady. You're just too reckless and easily confused. It's just a quack, but he's already deceived you. If it weren't for Miss Yun's help, maybe I would have died in the hands of Quack. Yes, I know. I won't make the same mistake in the future, and I won't be deceived by Quack." This grandfather and grandson pair kept calling her a quack, making Mu Wushuang's chest heave up and down, her face flushed red. She was just about to find an excuse to leave when Yin Luofeng's lazy and evil voice came from the side. "Crown Prince, this second promise, are you going to start fulfilling it?" Yin Luofeng stretched, a playful smile hanging on the corner of his mouth. "It's getting late. I want to go back to sleep. So don't waste my time, remember. The harder the slap, the better. The harder I'll be, and the sooner you can end it." Gao Ling's expression changed, and he roared, "Yin Luofeng, don't go too far. So, the Crown Prince is a despicable person who doesn't keep his word." Yin Luofeng glanced sideways at Gao Ling. "It's fine if you don't want to keep your promise. The fourth prince and Elder Ning are witnesses. When this gets out, everyone will know that the Crown Prince is a despicable person who doesn't keep his word." Gao Ling's eyes were spitting fire. His malevolent expression made people feel like he was going to punch Yin Luofeng in the face at any time. Miss Yin, Elder Ning was afraid that Gao Ling would beat Yin Luofeng up in a fit of rage. He shielded Yin Luofeng behind him as if he was protecting a child. Don't worry, he has promised you this condition. I will help you fulfill it. Otherwise, this old man will definitely cooperate with you to publicize his despicable actions to the world. Gao Ling didn't know Elder Ning's identity, so he didn't act rashly. At this moment, Mu Wuxuan slowly walked in front of him, her eyes filled with tenderness and determination. Crown Prince, it's not worth it for you to break your promise for Wuxuan. Wuxuan asked you to agree to her condition before, so you must keep your promise. So, hit me, Wuxuan will never drag the Crown Prince down. Mu Wuxuan raised her beautiful face, her beautiful eyes filled with deep emotion. She only told him that the reason why she was willing to endure such humiliation was because of him. Chapter 73. Gao Ling's heart ached. Wuxuan, don't worry. I will return the humiliation we suffered today to her one day. Mu Wuxuan smiled. Her smile was desolate and bitter, but it made Gao Ling's heart ache even more. At the same time, his hatred for Yin Luofeng deepened. Slap! Gao Ling raised his trembling hand and gently slapped Mu Wuxuan's face. It was as if he was brushing away dust, without any strength at all. If you hit her with this kind of strength, I don't think you'll be able to stop for the whole night. Yin Luofeng kindly reminded. Hearing Yin Luofeng's words, Mu Wuxuan bit her lip. Your Highness, you don't have to pity me. I'm not afraid of pain or humiliation. Gao Ling's heart trembled. Facing such a beautiful face, he really couldn't bear to hit her. Wuxuan, I'm sorry. Gao Ling gently closed his eyes. When he opened them again, the guilt in his eyes was even stronger. He raised his hand and slapped Mu Wuxuan. Slap! The crisp sound was so abrupt in this quiet cabin. Mu Wuxuan's left cheek instantly turned red and swollen. Tears welled up in her eyes, but she stubbornly refused to let them fall. As the beloved daughter of the Prime Minister's residence, let alone being slapped, not even a single strand of her hair had been hurt. Now, because of Yin Luofeng, she had been humiliated in public. She would remember this debt. In fact, Mu Wuxuan didn't think about it. If the Crown Prince really loved her more than himself, he would not have hurt her even if he was an untrustworthy villain. But in the end, the Crown Prince still chose her. Slap! Slap, slap, slap! Jailing slaps landed on Mu Wuxuan's face again and again. It was as if he was hitting himself in the heart, causing him to feel a stabbing pain in his heart. However, thinking of his reputation outside, he still ruthlessly slapped Mu Wuxuan. Today's show was really wonderful. Gao Xiaoqian raised the corners of his lips. His gentle face contained a playful smile. Luofeng, if this kind of thing had happened to us today, I wouldn't have hit you even if I didn't keep my promise. Yin Luofeng crossed her arms in front of her chest and leaned against the cabin door. When she heard Gao Xiaoqian's words, she raised her eyebrows and smiled. Am I very familiar with you? Oh, Gao Xiaoqian rubbed his chin and winked at Yin Luofeng like a fox. Wouldn't it be better to cook us together? Why don't you come to the fourth prince's residence tomorrow, and we can go to bed and cook? After leaving the prince's mansion, turn right and enter another alley. That's the most famous brothel in Long Yuan Nation. Go there and cook whoever you want. Yin Luofeng lazily glanced at Gao Xiaoqian. She had never thought that this man, who was as gentle as jade on the outside, would be so flirtatious. In comparison, she was more interested in Yin Xiao, who lacked proper training. Gao Xiaoqian revealed a fox-like smile. Those women are too easy to cook, making this prince lack interest. They aren't as attractive as you, Maple, who are hard to cook, hard to chew, and chewy. That's right. Yin Luofeng nodded and said in agreement, you're right. Easy to cook is far less attractive than chewy ones. To me, fourth prince, you're just a rotten bone that's easy to cook. Gao Xiaoqian's face finally stiffened. He realized that he had dug a hole and buried himself in it. Gao Ling had slapped Mu Wuxuan countless times. At this moment, Mu Wuxuan's face was swollen like a pig's head, no longer beautiful and elegant. Her beautiful eyes were filled with tears, looking delicate and pitiful. Chapter 74. Gao Ling's hands were numb from the slaps. His heart was in so much pain that it was almost numb. No one knew what kind of storm was brewing in his heart. Looking at Gao Ling's gradually calming eyes, Mu Wushuang's heart was filled with joy. She even forgot the pain on her face. She knew that she had won the bet. Like Gao Ling, Mu Wushuang was also selfish. She loved Gao Ling because of his identity. Since that was the case, how could Gao Ling be more important than herself? She had chosen to receive these slaps because she was making a bet. Yun Luofeng's medical talent would definitely attract Gao Ling's attention. How could she allow Gao Ling to look at other women? That was why she had asked Gao Ling to slap him. Not only to make Gao Ling hate Yun Luofeng more, but more importantly, to make him feel guilty. She believed that after today, Gao Ling would not only love her more, he would hate Yun Luofeng even more. It's getting late. If I don't go back now, I'm afraid that my grandfather will come to arrest me. Yun Luofeng's lips curled upwards as she glanced at the pig-faced Mu Wushuang. Mu Wushuang, go back and tell Mu Xingqiu that I will repay what he owed the Yun family. The enmity between the Yun family and the Mu family was no secret in Long Yuan country. After hearing Yun Luofeng's words, everyone sighed. However, Yun Luofeng did not have his granddaughter's boldness to make such a declaration in public. Miss Yun, Ning Xian saw that Yun Luofeng was about to leave and hurriedly called out to her. You saved my grandfather. I would like to treat you to a meal. Is that okay? Yun Luofeng's back was facing Ning Xian as she shrugged her shoulders. I should go back and tell my grandfather about what happened today. I'm afraid I won't be able to fulfill your invitation. What about tomorrow? Ning Xian blinked. Are you free tomorrow? Yun Luofeng thought for a moment and nodded. Wait for me at the inn in Long Yuan country. I'll look for you tomorrow. As she finished speaking, she raised her hand and waved goodbye to the people behind her. She slowly walked down the boat and disappeared into the endless night. Gao Shaoqin narrowed his fox-like eyes and stared in the direction that Yun Luofeng had left. He sneered, no matter how old your bones are, there will be a day when they are cooked rotten. Yun Luofeng, this prince doesn't believe that I can't cook you well. Under the night sky, the general's residence was serene and peaceful. The man stood under the night sky as a light breeze brushed past. His black hair fluttered in the wind, and his black robes accentuated his tall and strong figure. His face was cold and unparalleled, so perfect that even a god would be jealous of him. At this moment, the man was holding a yellow-covered book in his hand. His two sword-like eyebrows were tightly knitted together, and a look of confusion flashed across his face. When Lin Xiong had brought him the erotic pictures, she had warned him that if he wanted to study the pictures in the yellow book, he had to be with Yun Luofeng. Otherwise, he would not be able to study them thoroughly. So, until now, the man had not opened the yellow book in his hand. Just as the man was debating whether he should open the yellow book, a joyful voice came from the front yard. Even though he was far away, he could still hear it clearly. General, young Miss is back. Young Miss is back. She's back? When a man heard the servant girl, Qing Yan's loud shouts, an obscure light flashed across his cold, dark eyes. Chapter 75. Yin Family Hall. The old man looked up and down at the beautiful girl standing in front of him until he was sure that the girl was unscathed. Then he breathed a sigh of relief. You little girl, you insisted on going to the banquet alone. Fortunately, you are fine. Otherwise, I will go to the crown prince's residence tomorrow. His tone was reproachful, but Yun Luofeng could still hear the worry and pampering in it. Her heart couldn't help but warm. I said, I, Yun Luofeng, am never a person who suffers losses. I will only let others suffer losses. This time, not only was I not bullied, but I even let the crown prince personally beat Mu Wushuang. Yun Luofeng looked at his granddaughter in surprise. You said the crown prince beat Mu Wushuang? That's impossible. With the crown prince's feelings for Mu Wushuang, how could he beat him? Yun Luofeng shrugged and told Yun Luofeng what happened today. The crown prince lost the bet to me. He just fulfilled his promise. But there is one thing you need to be prepared for. From now on, it is estimated that there will be a lot of people coming to visit, and I will not see anyone who comes. Originally, Yin Luofeng didn't intend to reveal her medical skills so soon. She did this to teach Mu Wuxuan a lesson. Therefore, she could imagine that once her medical skills were spread out, the general's residence would not be peaceful. Yin Luofeng was stunned, and after a moment, he burst into hearty laughter, which was full of joy. "Ha ha! Good. You are really worthy of being my good granddaughter. Well done. Let's see how the people of Prime Minister Mu's residence will clamor in front of us from now on. Especially Jing Lin. Didn't he say that without his treatment, you can only be a waste for the rest of your life? This time isn't a slap in the face. I want to see how he will face the world in the future." Yin Luofeng stared at the laughing Yin Luofeng, and her mood unconsciously improved a lot. In the past, what the Mu family owed us, I will repay them little by little. Her voice was extremely firm, and her eyebrows were raised. And this time, I will not let the Crown Prince feel better. Tomorrow, the Crown Prince will have an emergency, and no one can treat him except me. Why did she go to the banquet? Could it be that he would be sending himself up to be humiliated by others? No. In fact, she made enough preparations before going to the banquet. It was all for the sake of Princine. Therefore, when the Crown Prince was not paying attention, she sprinkled the spirit-dispersing powder on him. As the name suggested, this spirit-dispersing powder could cause a martial practitioner to lose his spiritual power. To a person like the Crown Prince, losing his spiritual power was more painful than death. The shock in Yin Luo's eyes grew, but he did not think that his granddaughter had done anything wrong. After all, the Crown Prince had humiliated her over the years and nearly forced her to her death. Therefore, her revenge became reasonable. "You little girl," Yin Luo laughed bitterly. "Why didn't you tell me earlier that you had a plan? I've been worried about you for so long. It's getting late now. You should go back and rest." Yin Luofeng stretched lazily. "Don't worry about me in the future. I will never let myself suffer a loss." Under the night sky, the Yin family was very quiet, and there was a strange atmosphere everywhere. After leaving the Great Hall, Yin Luofeng suddenly realized just how strange the current Yin family was. If it was in the past, Yin Xiao would definitely appear in her line of sight the moment she returned home. But this time, that fellow actually didn't appear. Chapter 76. Yin Luofeng felt a little uneasy. Could something have happened to that fellow? However, when she reached the room at the back of the mountain, she realized that her worries were unfounded. The moonlight poured down and fell on the man's cold and peerless features. At this moment, the man's back was facing the moonlight, and his black robes accentuated his perfect figure. His features were very exquisite, and his dark eyes were like the deep darkness of the night. He stared unblinkingly at Yin Luofeng, who had just pushed open the door and entered. "You're back." The man's voice was hoarse and magnetic. It was like a magnet that could easily attract one's heart. Yin Luofeng raised her brows frivolously. "Are you looking for me?" The man's eyes were fixed firmly on Yin Luofeng. There was no expression on his cold and expressionless face. "I have a book here that I'd like you to study together." Yin Luofeng raised her brows again. Her gaze slowly shifted downwards and landed on the yellow-covered book in the man's hand. An erotic picture? A sense of astonishment appeared on the young girl's beautiful face. She then raised her head and stared fixedly at the man in front of her. "Yin Xiao, did you do this on purpose?" If a man brought an erotic picture into your room and said that he wanted to study it with you, you would also think the wrong way, even if this man had been the most pure and innocent person in your eyes. Yin Xiao was a little confused. He could not understand why she had become so angry after reading this book. However, Yin Xiao was very honest. He nodded and said, "I did it on purpose." Lin Xiong had told him that only two people could study the erotic pictures together. So, he had indeed waited for her here on purpose. Yin Xiao never thought that his subordinate, Lin Xiong, would have the courage to set him up. "Yin Xiao." Yin Luofeng laughed and forced the man's body into a corner. A dangerous light flashed in her eyes. Do you know what the book in your hand is? Why did you give it to me to study together? Yin Xiao frowned. He finally felt that something was wrong. It's Lin Xiong. When he gave me the erotic picture, he told me that he wanted to study it with you. So, I've come to see you. Who's Lin Xiong? My subordinates. The man's deep voice startled Yin Luofeng. She had already guessed that Yin Zhao's identity wasn't ordinary, but because Xiao Mo had told her that Yin Xiao had no ill intentions towards her, she hadn't tried to investigate his identity. You believe whatever others say? Yin Luofeng narrowed her eyes. Her body was tightly pressed against Yin Xiao, so much so that Yin Xiao did not dare to move at all. Otherwise, he would feel his entire body become incomparably hot. It was a strange feeling that he had never experienced before. Yin Xiao, let me ask you a question. When the Mu Jia caught fire, were you the one who hired people to do it? Only the Yin family held a grudge against the Prime Minister's manor. Moreover, there weren't many who had the guts to set fire to the Prime Minister's mansion. They make you unhappy. The man's voice was cold and hoarse. Those who make you unhappy must die. It's just that you probably don't want me to avenge you, so I didn't kill them. Yin Luofeng's heart suddenly trembled. In 2 lives, this guy was the first person who was willing to kill for her. Yin Xiao, don't you want to study the erotic picture with me? After returning to her senses, Yin Luofeng's eyes were filled with a trace of mockery. You can open this book now. If there's anything you don't understand, I'll teach you. How about that? Yin Xiao was a good and obedient man, especially when it came to Yin Luofeng's words. He was completely obedient. Chapter 77. So, after hearing the young girl's words, he opened the erotic picture very seriously. Inside the yellow leather book, the pictures of men and women in various positions were reflected in his eyes, causing him to be stunned on the spot. His grim face suddenly froze. Yin Xiao was indeed as innocent as a blank piece of paper when it came to men and women, but that did not mean that he was stupid. The postures drawn in the erotic picture were so penetrating. How could he not understand? Lin Xiong. A wave of anger rose from Yin Zhao's heart, and he clutched the yellow book in his hand tightly. Lin Xiong had actually brought me something like this, especially since he had opened it right in front of Yin Luofeng. The pitiful Lin Xiong still does not know that her master has a grudge against her, so much so that he would not have a good life in the future. Yin Zhao's heart grew anxious, and he hurriedly tried to explain himself to Yin Luofeng, afraid that the young girl would think that he was one with those lecherous, vulgar men. However, just as he turned around, and before he could explain himself, he was met with a pair of eyes that seemed to be smiling, yet not smiling. The young girl's eyes carried a faint smile as she sized up the man in front of her with great interest. She looked as if she was admiring a perfect piece of art. At this moment, the distance between the two of them was very close. Yin Xiao could smell the young girl's faint fragrance in front of him, and a strange impulse welled up in his heart, causing his body to heat up. He did not know why, but the picture of a man and a woman had suddenly leapt into his mind. Do you want to study the erotic picture with me? Yin Luofeng's voice was like the last straw that broke his back. An unbearable agitation rushed into his mind with a bang, causing his body to react involuntarily. Sensing the man's abnormality, Yin Luofeng's lips curled into a mocking smile, and he left Yin Zhao's body in a flash. Yin Xiao, this is the price you have to pay for asking me to study the erotic picture. Yin Luofeng smiled evilly. If you come looking for me again in the future, I won't show you any mercy. After Yin Luofeng's body had left, the man felt a little better. Even he did not know why he, who had always been cold and emotionless, would feel such an impulse towards the young girl in front of him. You could go now. Yin Luofeng clapped his hands and smiled at the man standing in front of him. Also, don't believe your subordinate's words in the future. Don't be led astray by him. Poor Lin Xiong. She did not know that Yin Luofeng had decided her fate with just a few words. Oh. Yin Xiao nodded obediently. If you don't like him, I can exile him. Banish? There's no need for that. Just don't listen to everything he says in the future. Yin Luofeng's lips curled into a smile, and he took 2 steps towards Yin Xiao, forcing him into a corner once again. He declared tyrannically, "Remember, The only one who can train you is me. Yin Zhao's face clearly showed a trace of uneasiness. The impulse that he had suppressed with great difficulty surged forth once again as the young girl approached him. Fortunately, Yin Luofeng did not torture him this time. After seeing his somewhat heated face, he flashed away. "Let's go, I want to rest." Yin Luofeng yawned lazily and raised his eyebrows at the man in front of him. The man pursed his thin lips slightly. He looked at Yin Luofeng with a complicated gaze. Finally, he looked at her deeply, then turned and walked into the boundless night. Chapter 78. Master, you had such a good opportunity just now. Why didn't you pounce on him? Why didn't you? Little Mo's angry voice rang out in his mind. Dual cultivation, that's dual cultivation we're talking about. It's not just a small increase in cultivation. Why didn't you eat him up? Yin Luofeng smiled devilishly. Yin Xiao still needs some training. Let's talk about it after I've trained him. Besides, although I'm interested in Yin Xiao, I don't have any feelings for him yet. Master, what's wrong with Yin Xiao? You come and go at his beck and call. You're obedient, you have a good figure, and you're powerful. Most importantly, he's never had a woman before. What else does he need to be trained in? Little Mo was very dissatisfied. His master had given up on such a good opportunity. If it were him, he would have pounced on him first. Feelings could be nurtured slowly in the future. The night sky was as still as water. In the quiet courtyard of the Yun family home, the sound of water splashing could be heard. Water splashed all over the man's perfect face. The man soaked his entire body in the cold water and felt the burning sensation slowly recede. Once his body had recovered, he leaped out of the lake and stood on the ground. His long black robe was soaked and clung tightly to his body. His abs were also exposed under the moonlight. The man's hair was also soaked, and droplets of water slowly flowed down the perfect contours of his face. If any woman were to witness this sexy and seductive scene, they would definitely fall for it. He turned his back on the boundless night and said, "Lin Xiong, your punishment will be heavier." No one noticed that a figure cupped her fists at the man and then disappeared into the night sky. Yin Xiao was just about to leave the lake when he noticed the erotic painting that he had thrown aside before entering the lake. After some thought, he picked it up and walked toward the back of the mountain. Ever since the medical pavilion had produced the spirit-gathering liquid, it had become more lively than ever. Every morning, countless people would come to the medical pavilion in order to get their hands on the spirit-gathering liquid as soon as possible. Fortunately, Yin Luofeng provided a few more bottles of spirit-gathering liquid for the medical pavilion, which prevented these people from fighting on the spot. At this point in time, in the inner hall of the medical pavilion, Elder Rong was smiling as he looked at the grandfather and grandson sitting in front of him. He chuckled and said, "Elder Ning, it's such a coincidence that you came to Long Yuan Nation. I went back a while ago and only arrived here this morning. Why? Have you found the divine doctor?" Ever since Elder Ning contracted an incurable disease, he had a sickly look. It had been a long time since he had been so radiant. He must have found a way to save his life. Elder Rong, you're right. I did find a famous doctor, but she's not the one we're familiar with. She's a famous doctor hidden among the people. My illness can finally be cured. Oh, Elder Rong raised his eyebrows. That's great. To be honest, I've always felt guilty because our medical pavilion couldn't cure you. So, when I heard that you're here, I plan to introduce you to a doctor. This doctor is really a peerless genius. She even has a way to cure the poison of the mandala flower. See, I just went back to fetch you. Hearing this, Elder Ning was taken aback. He smiled bitterly and said, "So there are so many geniuses in Long Yuan Nation. The lady I met is also a genius. She has already promised to treat my illness, so I won't trouble Elder Rong this time. I believe in her abilities. However, I would like to have a competition with Elder Rong to see who has better medical skills." Never in their wildest dreams would these two old men have thought that the peerless genius they knew was actually a human. Chapter 79. Elder Rong. Just as the two old men were talking, Lin Xiao, who was dressed in a green robe, walked in quickly. He cupped his fists and said, "Reporting to Elder Rong, the royal physician, Jing Lin, is here to see you." Jing Lin? Elder Roan frowned, no longer as relaxed as when he was talking to Elder Lin. His face was full of impatience. I've said it before, I won't see anyone from the royal family. Elder Lin, Jing Lin, said that he has a 100-year-old medicinal herb and wants to give it to Elder Roan. Lin Xiao told Elder Roan what Jing Lin had said outside the door. His tone was calm, as if he was talking about something unimportant. The 100-year-old medicinal herb in Jing Lin's hands might be a treasure to others, but unfortunately, the medical court did not care about it. A 100-year-old medicinal herb, what a big deal. Elder Rong sneered, his face full of mockery. Lin Xiao, do you know why Jing Lin came to the medical court to visit me? Elder Rong, Jing Lin's face is full of panic. I think he's here for the Crown Prince. This morning, I heard that the Crown Prince's spiritual power disappeared overnight. Jing Lin tried everything he could, but could not help him recover. Therefore, I dare to guess that he must be here for the Crown Prince. In one night, the news of the Crown Prince losing his spiritual power spread throughout the entire Long Yuan country. Of course, this was related to Yun Luofeng's deliberate propaganda. With Jing Lin's medical skills, of course, he could not cure the Crown Prince. Therefore, he could only seek help from the medical court. Go back and tell Jing Lin that the medical court does not treat the royal family. Elder Rong said coldly. Elder Ning looked at Elder Rong in surprise. Although the medical court's doctors were arrogant and difficult to invite, the medical court had always given face to the royal family. Moreover, the other party was the Crown Prince of the royal family. Now, he actually rejected the other party's request so forcefully? Elder Rong seemed to know the old man's doubts and explained to him, Elder Ning, I've told you before that there is a peerless genius who can cure Lord Ning's Dachira poison. That genius has a grudge with the Crown Prince. If I save the Crown Prince now, what if she is unhappy and refuses to cure Lord Ning? Hearing this, Elder Ning was stunned. Such a coincidence? The genius, I know, also has a grudge against the Crown Prince. Last night, I saw how she took revenge on the Crown Prince. Elder Rong was slightly startled. Just as he was about to say something, a clamor came from outside the door, accompanied by Jing Lin's angry roar. What happened outside? Elder Rong stood up and frowned. Lin Xiao, go and see what's going on. Why is it so noisy? Yes. Lin Xiao cupped his fists and walked towards the door. In the hall, Jing Lin glared angrily at the beautiful girl in front of him. The flames in his eyes almost jumped out. Yin Luofeng, you vicious woman. You hit Wu Shuang yesterday, and you still have the guts to appear in front of me today. You're just jealous of Wu Shuang. I'm warning you, if you dare to go against Wu Shuang in the future, don't blame me for being ruthless. Jing Lin's impression of Yin Luofeng had always been that she was a wastrel. No matter what, he was not willing to believe that this hedonistic young lady's medical skills were truly outstanding. Moreover, Wu Shuang had personally said that she was unable to diagnose that old man's illness.